Chapter 1497, 3 years. Chapter 1497, 3 years. Huh? Long Fei was slightly surprised. You only completed the mission? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for completing the Inheritance of the Beast Mastery mission. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100,000 experience, 10,000 holy source, 10,000 points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining S level. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the special item Group Demonic Token. Huh. A special item called the Group of Demons Token? This is a god or horse? Long Fei muttered in his heart. He then checked the properties of the item and opened the system to take a look. Ha ha ha. Good stuff. Item, Monster Bestowal Token Description, summoning 10,000 Demon Beast. Lasts for 1 hour. Description 2, 1 time. The heck? Long Fei was grinning from ear to ear. This is just like the scatter seeds, which become solidars. It's just that those are magic weapon. And these are demon beast. However, the reward was secondary. The key point was that this was the first time Long Fei had this kind of honor of passing on knowledge and dispelling doubts. Why was it a sense of honor? Because this was the first time Long Fei had truly become someone else's master. This feeling was very special to him, be it the powerhouse from the heavenly court or the infernal realm, Long Fei's Kunlun sect or the Thunder Beast race. Long Fei had never guided them in their cultivation before. It could be said, not even once. They were like sheep being farmed, allowing them to develop and explore. It was good, but it also had its drawbacks. He needed someone to guide him on the path of martial arts. He needed a beacon to guide him in order to not lose his way and find a path that suited him. Long Fei only gave them reliance. This was the proof of 8 King Kong's choice. Suddenly, Long Fei had a feeling that not everything he had done before was right. As the sect master, I have never done anything about the creation of the gods' martial sect. The rank of the gods' martial sect has never been established, so I should take the main responsibility. As the sect master, he did not do anything. It was far from enough to only provide support in terms of equipment. Big brother Long Fei, I succeeded. Thank you. Thank you for your guidance. That disciple was extremely excited, an indescribable feeling that he had never felt before. Following behind him was the giant golden python. The sense of satisfaction, the sense of honor, was incomparably strong. The disciples were all incomparably happy as well. The imperial city looked at Long Fei with some suspicion and said, Big brother Long Fei, if we don't succeed in the end, will you save him? Long Fei regained his composure and smiled, saying, I won't. That's his choice. He clearly felt that Long Fei was going to rush out at that time. Long Fei said indifferently, Go back and tell the hall master that there's no need to persuade me anymore. I will not participate in the Beast Master exam. I will go into closed-door cultivation for a few years, and I will stay in Beast Garden for these few years. Finished. Long Fei walked into the forest. He was going to go into seclusion. He wanted to guide Hua Xin and the others. He wanted to let the heroes on his cards, as well as the powerhouse, all get promoted one by one. Because their becoming strong will directly affect the level of God's martial sect. If they could raise their cultivation level, the God's martial sect would quickly raise it to level 10, and they would be able to activate the guild teleportation. In the Beast Hall, Qian Changrui looked at the Imperial City and asked, Did he really say that? The Imperial City nodded and replied, reporting to Hall Master, That's what Long Fei said. I don't know why he suddenly said he wanted to go into closed-door cultivation, but at that time, it felt like enlightenment. Qian Changrui muttered, and gently bit down on the 2 words, sudden enlightenment. After a long time, Qian Chongrui also did not understand what Long Fei was trying to do. However, as long as Long Fei does not leave the beast garden, he was not worried, and said, "Pass down my order. Do not let anyone disturb Long Fei." The imperial city immediately replied, "As you wish." The capital retreated. Qian Chongrui looked at the sky that was shrouded in immortal clouds and muttered, "Long Fei, I'll give you 3 years." In a hidden valley, the Kunlun sect disciples of the heavenly court and the beast race warrior were all summoned by Long Fei. Hua Xian asked, "Sect master, is there something urgent?" Everyone looked at Long Fei. Long Fei said indifferently, "There's no rush. I want to personally guide you in cultivation." The Sleeping Beauty also woke up and giggled. "Master, I will do my best to help you." Hua Xian was stunned. He did not understand. Long Fei said once again, "I will allow all of you to reach the peak realm of great perfection." "Bring it on. Tell me all the problems you met in your cultivation." The heavenly court and the infernal realm. 2 big secret training bases, one for Long Fei and the other for the more than 100 system reward card powerhouse. Red Hair, Thunderbird, Lady Misfortune. These people also need to be upgraded. In addition to the increase in strength, the time spent on the field would also increase. Also, he could not do much in 5 minutes, but he could do a lot of things in an hour or 2. For example, talking about One Piece with the red hair. For example, he would chat with Huang Long about some interesting things about the prehistoric era. Sleeping Beauty could be said to be omnipotent. Martial arts training was omnipotent. Cultivation technique omnipotent. Even the various auxiliary method were at their peak and could be used to imbue Long Fei with things from his new realm. Boom, boom. From time to time, a rumbling sound could be heard coming from the valley. "I've broken through." "Master, I've already broken through to the next stage." There were people breaking through every day. Leighton, the beast race is strong in terms of physical body and strength. Furthermore, they also have your ability to break through. Their mounts are your second life. I want to train you to become a holy knight of the beast race. Long Fei slightly said, "Beast race holy knight. Invincible charge. Red hair. If your overbearing aura can be fully integrated into your blade technique, then your strength can go a step further. Let me teach you how to combine the overbearing aura with your sword technique." Big Sister Lucky, you... "Sis, can you not wink at me? My little heart can't take it." Time flew by. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Too many things had happened in the past 3 years. Long Fei was forgotten. Zhan Wushuang entered the 98th floor of the God's Tower S. Xianyuan Li Er entered the 90th floor of the God's Tower S. With the help of the 9 secret warrior family, the Hell Gate had annexed the 10,000 Alliance sect and the Bounty Gate, becoming the strongest power in the mortal world of the Chaos realm. In these 3 years, ancient spiritual artifacts were being harvested everywhere. Someone said that the Hell Gate's ancient spiritual artifact could already form mountains. It could be said the entire Chaos realm were all in the hands of the Hell Gate, and in these 3 years, Long Fei stayed in the valley and did not leave even half a step. All sorts of war beasts guarded the valley, and no one dared to even take half a step near it. Rumble! Rumble! Bang after bang. One disciple after another stood in front of Long Fei. At this moment, Long Fei looked at the experience of the God's Martial Sect Guild and quickly went up. Soon, we'll be at level 10. Chapter 1498. Beast of Hell. Chapter 1498. Beast of Hell, boom, Beast Control Hall, outside the gate. In 3 years, look at what your Beast Control Hall has done. A bunch of useless bums. If you don't even have a proper war beast, How can you make Master Zhan Wushuang enter the ancient holy battlefield? You useless trash. A golden armor elder scolded. Behind him were 10 golden armored guards. Qian Changrui's expression was ugly as he said, "Golden armor, my beast control hall is not for you to point fingers at anything. Who do you think you are?" Beast control hall didn't make any contributions during these 3 years. This caused the tower question of God to be extremely dissatisfied. It was also because of this that the cultivation resources obtained by the Beast Control Hall in these few years were becoming fewer and fewer. Now, even the Golden Armor bodyguard could bully them. Zhan Wushuang stepped into the 98th floor of the God's Tower. Breaking through the God's Tower was just around the corner. However, until now, they had not found a single beast to give to Zhan Wushuang, which made many Saint Presbyter unsatisfied. Zhan Wushuang was now a pearl, a giant star, a great treasure in their eyes. He would soon be able to enter the ancient holy battlefield. With his potential, his cultivation would definitely be able to shine and win glory for them, and they would also receive rewards. It was highly likely that the divine gift was a divine spark. The golden armor elder snorted and took out an order badge from his chest pocket, laughing coldly. "Qian Changrui, do you know what this is?" 20 levels of the God's Tower Sacred Master's Medallion. Qian Changrui's face darkened, and fear surfaced on the faces of the elders beside him. Golden Armor Elder shouted, "Kneel down!" Boom! The golden armor released a burst of golden light, and following that, the golden light exploded after a deep sound, directly smashing Qian Changrui into pieces. Qian Changrui clenched his fists tightly, feeling extremely unresigned. He slowly kneeled on the ground and said, "I pay my respects to Holy Saint." All the disciples of the Beast Control Hall kneeled down. "Ha ha ha!" Golden Armor Elder laughed proudly and said, "Who do I think I am? Qian Changrui. Now do you know what I am? So what if I ride on your head and shit on your head?" Humph! A bunch of trash. It was a crushing blow. Qian Changrui clenched his teeth, so hard that his teeth made cracking noises, but he couldn't do anything about it. The Golden Armor Elder disdainfully said, "The Holy Saint has ordered for you to tame the beast of hell within 3 days, so that it can be used as Master Zhan Wushuang's mount to enter the ancient holy battlefield." Beast of hell. 3 days. This is impossible. Lord, that's Pluto. We don't even have the energy to tame it. We can't even get close to its body. So how can we tame it? Not to mention 3 days. Even if it were 3 years, 30 years, or even 300 years, we still wouldn't be able to do it. Beast of Hell. The first war beast in Rift Soul Pass. It was also one of the strongest beasts in the secret world. Taming Pluto? It was even more difficult than ascending to heaven. Over the years, they had tried many times, but every single time was a failure. The beast of hell of the underworld king realm were too powerful. Just like the Grim Reaper, the power of the underworld was something that the living could not withstand. Qian Changrui said, "Solemnly, we cannot do it within 3 days. Please explain this to Holy Saint." Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Golden Armor Elder immediately interrupted him. "I don't care if you can do it or not. This is your problem. I'm just telling you, if you can't do it within 3 days, all of your beast control halls people must scram for me. This place will also become a wasteland. Qian Changrui, even if you can't, you have to do it. Understand? This is your last chance." Finished. Golden Armor Elder laughed coldly and said, "Beast Control Hall? It's going to become an abandoned land soon, and it's going to be removed from the tower question of God." With a smug laugh, the Golden Armor Elder left. All of the elders stood up with faces as pale as a corpse. It was impossible to tame a beast of hell within 3 days. If they could not complete it, they would be pushed out of the tower question of God. To them, they might not be able to meet the tower question of God again for the rest of their lives. This meant that they, too, were about to become mortals. It was very hard. No one spoke. After a long time, an elder said, "If only Great Clan Elder was still here. He has a good relationship with the saint and would definitely be able to help us." Yeah. At that time, the thunder beast he tamed for several years was stolen. If the Hall Master did not side with that brat Long Fei, how could the Great Clan Elder have escaped from Beast Control Hall? "I heard that Grand Elder is about to advance to a Senior Elder. If only Grand Elder was here." Everyone began to talk at once. If he had not protected Long Fei back then, Beast Control Hall would definitely not have become like this. Qian Changrui slightly said, "Which clan elder is willing to follow me to Rift Soul Pass?" As soon as his voice fell, the entire hall went silent. Not a single sound could be heard. Who is willing to go to Rift Soul Pass? That was a hellhole, and he didn't even dare to approach it. Going to that place was simply suicide. At this moment, the royal capital stood up and said, "Hall Master, I am willing to follow you." "Me too. Me too." When a few disciples walked out, they were all the disciples that Long Fei had taught 3 years ago, and were also the disciples that the Beast Control Hall had decided on the most in the past few years. Qian Changrui said, "Your cultivation is not enough." "Is there any elder who would like to go with me?" he asked again. Still no sound. Qian Changrui looked at the second elder, and the second elder immediately said, "Hall Master, I have not been feeling well lately, and have not been able to go out well." The third elder immediately said, "Hall Master, I'm not feeling well either." "Hall Master, we aren't feeling well either." Almost all the elders said in unison. Qian Changrui smiled bitterly and said, "All right, I'll go by myself. If I don't return within 3 days, you guys can look for those that have a backer. If you can't find one, then find one yourself." Finished. Qian Changrui walked out with large strides. All of the elders immediately felt relieved. One of the elders immediately suggested, "Let's go find the elder and beg him to take us in." The wall was pushed by everyone. No one wanted to provide timely assistance. It was Qian Changrui who had treated them as if they were his own brothers, but in the end, no one was willing to help him. This was the human heart. People should not commit suicide. In the face of a great catastrophe, everyone flew away. They felt disdain for the city. Boom. With the breakthrough of a single disciple, the association's experience increased once more. But Long Fei looked at the association's experience and muttered, "I'm still lacking 10,000 more experience before I can break through level 10. Those disciples who should have had their breakthroughs had all achieved breakthroughs. The powerhouse S that should be leveled up had already been upgraded, so Long Fei only had 10,000 experience left to level up. He opened the system and checked it. Long Fei looked at the divine spark within the space ring and muttered, "Should I let someone devour the 1-star godhood? This way, God's martial sect will be able to break through level 10 in an instant." Chapter 1499. Entering the Rift Soul Pass. Chapter 1499. Entering the Rift Soul Pass, the guild teleportation was very important. It was a weapon for hegemony. One could say that it was a godly weapon that came from the heavens. It can play a key role. However, a divine spark. He was also Long Fei's only one. He didn't know how to split it among them. Zhang Xian was moved. Long Fei gave up in the end and muttered, "Wait a little more." 3 years. Let's go out and take a look first. Counting the 5 years I've been in Chaos Realm, if we add in the 3 years that I've been unconscious for, it should be 8 years. Luo Shi, Leopard Girl, 1000, wait for me for a moment. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, allowing Xian and the others to return to the heavenly court, the base of hell. Following that, Long Fei walked out of the valley. I wonder how Lier is doing now. I wonder where Li Yuanba and the rest are now. For hours later, when Long Fei arrived at the Beast Control Hall, he discovered that it was completely different from 3 years ago. One by one, the disciples hurried on their way. She turned a blind eye to Long Fei. What happened? Long Fei pulled a disciple. The disciple looked at Long Fei and said, "Beast Control Hall is finished. Let's go quickly." "Is it over? What's going on? Isn't the Beast Control Hall the power of the Tower Question of God? Could someone have infiltrated the Tower Question of God?" The first thing that came to Long Fei's mind was the power of the Yan Huang ancestor. However, was it that fast? It was different from the time he had agreed on. The disciple stared at Long Fei and said, "The Hall Master has already been in the Rift Soul Pass for 3 days and has not come out yet. Someone said that he is already dead inside. If you still don't go tomorrow, you won't be able to leave after waiting for the golden armor bodyguard to come. The elders have all left. Big brother, if you want to go, then let's go quickly." With that, he broke free from Long Fei's arm and quickly left. "Don't go. The Hall Master will be back. Don't leave." "What are you all doing?" "These are all from the Beast Control Hall, you guys." Fierce arguments broke out in the yard. "Who do you think you are? Get out of my way. If you don't leave, do you want to stop me? So, what if you want to take something? This is what I deserve. Are you going to let me go? If you don't move away, I'll kill you little bastards." The Beast Control Hall was completely different. First, the elders escaped, then the large number of disciples escaped, and then the Beast Control Halls were all taken away. The current Beast Control Hall was like a great clan that had lost. Empty. Long Fei walked into the courtyard and saw that a senior disciple had started a quarrel with Wang Cheng and the rest. That senior disciple kicked him one last time and immediately overturned the entire imperial city, shouting, "Pa, who do you think you are? You want to control me? If you have the ability, you can control those elders. If you don't run away and wait for death, won't you let us run away?" The senior disciple carried a huge beast collar and quickly ran out and passed by Long Fei. He glanced at Long Fei briefly and did not put him in his eyes. King's City crawled up from the ground and looked at Long Fei with a glimmer in his eyes, then said, "Big brother Long Fei." The person beside him was also startled and said excitedly, "Big brother Long Fei." Long Fei saw that the courtyard was in a mess and that every disciple was fighting over something. He asked what happened. A disciple let out a long sigh. Royal City then said, "Big brother Long Fei, save Beast Control Hall. Save the Hall Master." Long Fei realized that the situation was getting serious and asked, "What exactly happened?" The Royal City gave a brief summary of what had happened in the past 3 years. Zhan Wushuang actually made it to the 98th floor. Lier has also reached the 90th level. What astonishing speed! The Imperial City said, "The Tower Question of God are about to change their surname and battle. Zhan Wushuang can be said to be able to cover the sky with one hand. Even the Tower Lord has to respect him a little. There are a few Zhan clan members in the Tower Question of God. They were not exposed before, but now that Zhan Wushuang has charged to the 98th floor, there's nothing for them to be afraid of. This time, it's a battle family Saint Presbyter. He ordered the Beast Control Hall to tame the Beast of Hell within 3 days. How is that possible? That's the king of the underworld beasts. The Hall Master has already been in the Rift Soul Pass for 3 days. There hasn't been any news of him until now. After 3 days, Beast Control Hall will become a wasteland. Long Fei locked his eyes every day and asked, How much time until the deadline? Wang Chung said, 1 night. Long Fei said, bring me to Rift Soul Pass. Leave the rest of the disciples here. I'll definitely rush back tomorrow morning with all my strength. The strength of the Zhan clan in the Tower Question of God quickly expanded. The rate of expansion was faster than he imagined. Perhaps it was also an opportunity for Long Fei. Again, Qian Changrui had treated him quite well. Last time, when he subdued Qian Zhongrui's lightning beast, he did not punish him either. Rift Soul Pass still had Beast King Question of God. It had been more than 3 years since he had arrived in the Beast Control Hall, and he had not seen it once. Long Fei also missed it a lot. Ha ha ha. Now, most of the elders in the Beast Control Hall are under my tutelage. Once the deadline is over tomorrow, the Beast Control Hall will be mine. Qian Zhongrui laughed complacently. Golden Armor Elder said, Elder Qian, your methods are really brilliant. Even if Master Zhan Wushuang wanted to kill a beast, he shouldn't be the Rift Soul Pass's Beast of Hell. Your big brother definitely won't be able to come out. Qian Zhongrui's gaze turned cold and said, that's because he was on the wrong side. I tried to persuade him at that time, but he was stubborn, and even though my lightning beast was stolen, he didn't blame me in the slightest. From that time onwards, he was not my big brother. He is not worthy of being in charge of the Beast Control Hall at all. And Qian Zhongrui smiled slightly. When I become the Beast Control Hall Lord, I will be able to tame that monster from the dragon race, Master. I will offer him to Master Zhan Wushuang. Ha ha ha. Golden Armor Elder also laughed out loud. 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only would he be able to obtain Beast Control Hall's territory, he would also be able to please Zhan Wushuang. Rift Soul Pass. The Beast King Question of God saw that Long Fei's expression was somewhat agitated and said, Boss. Long Fei said, let's not talk anymore. What's the situation under the Rift Soul Pass's array? The Beast King Question of God's eyebrows tightened and said, Hall Master Qian is probably in trouble. Long Fei looked at the Beast King Question of God and said lightly, Brother, are you willing to fight together with me again? The Beast King Question of God began to boil up and said, Boss, I was waiting for you to say that. You didn't know I was waiting here for you. All right, enter the Rift Soul Pass and take a look at the looks of the evil demons and giant demons. Chapter 1500. I guarantee you're ascending. Chapter 1500. I guarantee you're ascending Rift Soul Pass, the only place in Beast Control Hall where the seal was the evil demon beast. The giant demons who had come from all different planes were suppressed here. Amongst them, Beast of Hell is the strongest amongst these giant demons. The power of the Rift Soul Pass's seal was meant to suppress him. If he used the breaking through the seal, the consequences would be unimaginable, vicious, brutal, and filled with the darkness of the underworld. This kind of beast was impossible for the Beast Control Hall to tame, and no one could tame it either. Since its realm was not even on the same level, how could they tame it? Buzz. Wang. The Beast King Question of God brought Long Fei and entered the Rift Soul Pass. It was like a chaotic world where one could not see more than 20 meters. However, Long Fei could clearly feel the deep qi from far away, bringing about all sorts of pressure. The Beast King Question of God guarded beside Long Fei carefully and said, Boss, this is the Rift Soul Pass. Those giant demons and giant demons were all suppressed inside. Long Fei nodded and said, Quickly search for Pavilion Master Qian's aura and see if he is still alive. Beast King Question of God said, Understood. At the same time, Long Fei moved and summoned a card powerhouse from his hell base and ordered, Yi Mei, use your stealth state to scout for me. Understood. The demonic shadow flashed and then disappeared into the chaos. In this place shrouded in evil demonic energy, there was no need to intentionally hide his aura because he was a demon, and his aura was exactly the same as this place's. Long Fei said, "Let's move forward." The Beast King Question of God said, "Let's go." After walking for a few seconds, Yi Mei suddenly transmitted his voice to them. "Boss, a demon beast is really charging towards you. Do you want me?" Long Fei's brows tightened and immediately said, "There's no need. You go and find Qian Chongrui first." The Beast King Question of God's eyes shook and shouted, "Boss, you're here." Long Fei's right hand descended, and the Sword of Destroy was summoned. The flames burned, and the fire god's sword Qi appeared crazily. Rumble! In the midst of the indistinct primal chaos, a hellhound charged towards Xiang Longfei. He opened his bloody mouth. The Beast King Question of God blocked in front of Long Fei with a step and threw out a punch. "You're courting death." Pa Ji. Just like swatting a fly, with a pa Ji sound. It flipped over and fell onto the ground, instantly getting killed. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing, Hell's Dog for obtaining 39,000 experience points, 3,000 holy source, and 1 energy values. The Hellhound's body spasmed a few times as the Beast King Question of God stomped on it. Incomparable power. The Beast King Question of God of the semi-realistic realm were indeed valiant. Roar! Not far away, there was a roar. Kacha! Kacha! The lightning raged. A thunder snake swung its tail and swept out like lightning, instantly capturing the Beast King Question of God and dragging it. Shwa! The Beast King Question of God's reaction was slightly slower by half a second, and its huge body was dragged into the fog. Boom! Boom! In the darkness not far away, there were all sorts of clashing sounds as thunder and lightning broke out. Long Fei did not move, because in front of him a pair of dark green eyes were staring straight at him. Furthermore, they completely sealed off his entire body. He felt as if he would be killed at any moment he moved. This was a feeling of crushing his aura. Bang, bang, bang. One step, one step. In front of him, Long Fei was like an ant. The demon elephant was engraved with a variety of dark gold runes, and its eyes were green, a demonic aura faintly shone from its body as it stared fixedly at Long Fei. Crushing, powerful domination. Long Fei's gaze darkened as he looked at the incomparably enormous devil elephant. The corners of his mouth drew back, and he said coldly, "I'll give you a chance to live. Obediently submit to me." Without waiting for Long Fei to finish, the demonic elephant became furious and leaped up from the ground. Without waiting for Long Fei to react, rumble! With a heavy stomp, the entire Rift Soul Pass trembled violently. Long Fei's body felt like it was about to split open. His internal organs overturned the world, and huge waves rolled up within his mind. His head felt dizzy. Long Fei shouted, "Fuck this group of attack damage. It's simply a strong display of power. It's like an earthquake. It also has the stun effect. This demon elephant, I'll take it, could not hold back when facing good stuff. The combat strength of a demonic elephant was just too strong. If it was on a battlefield, it would absolutely sweep away anyone that saw it. The demon elephant seemed to understand Long Fei's words. It let out a furious roar and started trampling on him. Boom! Boom! Rumble! Long Fei's body swayed, unsteadily, swaying back and forth like a bean on a drum, completely unable to stop due to the intense tremors. On the other side, the Beast King Question of God was tightly entangled by a few giant demons and could not escape. Long Fei's heart became more and more shaken. This is the forbidden grounds where the Beast Control Hall suppressed the gigantic beasts. How many other forbidden grounds are there? The beasts here are so strong that it makes one's hair stand on end. This is too exciting. Ha ha ha. Long Fei became even more crazy. After a series of attacks, the demonic elephant paused for a moment. It was also at this time. Long Fei grinned. Is that it? Now it's my turn, right? Shua. Long Fei heavily jumped and directly leaped into the air. He directly stood on the head of the devil elephant. Long Fei sneered and said, "Become my war pet." Upanishads. Soul-controlling technique. Long Fei flipped his right hand, and a series of dense runes appeared on his right hand, instantly binding the 100-meter-tall devil elephant like a huge net. Buzz! With a loud noise, Long Fei's idea reached straight into the demonic elephant's sea of consciousness. The demonic elephant's eyes suddenly bulged, and its entire body began to tremble violently. In an instant, it fell into a berserk state, jumping about madly while shaking its body. He kept roaring, "Get out of my sea of consciousness! Get out! Get out!" Long Fei laughed sinisterly. "You are mine." With an angry roar, the power of the God-controlling technique poured into the demon elephant's sea of consciousness, and he immediately used his martial arts to crush it, forcefully suppressing it. Unconvinced, beat him until he submitted. The demonic elephant's sea of consciousness gradually lost its control. However, Long Fei did not take advantage of the victory to chase after them. Instead, he left the last bit of his consciousness and said, "It's quiet now, isn't it? Be quiet and listen to me. I just want to ask you, do you want to go out and fight with me? Do you want to be free? Do you want to overturn this tower question of God? If you want to, then just follow me. I guarantee that you'll be able to fly with me." Long Fei said with a smile. He said exactly what he wanted to do. At this moment, the demonic elephant hesitated for a few seconds before kneeling down. With its consciousness gone, it solemnly said, "Boss." Chapter 15:01, Heavenly Court, Hell, Open. Chapter 15:01, Heavenly Court, Hell, Open. The giant demon beast in Rift Soul Pass were all monsters that had been imprisoned for thousands or tens of thousands of years. They had been suppressed to the point that they had almost forgotten who they were. Their life's hope was to get out. The demonic elephant submitted. Long Fei's war pat had one more. The demonic elephant let out a thunderous roar. Its roar filled with an unbridled aura of immense power. This was catharsis. And then the demon elephant said, "Can you really bring me out? Even the king of the underworld will not be able to break through the Rift Soul Pass's seal. Can you really bring me out?" Long Fei smiled, but did not answer him. "What do you want to do the most after you leave?" The demonic elephant replied without hesitation, "Kill. Kill those who suppress me." Long Fei laughed. "Don't worry, I will definitely grant your wish. Now tell me where Qian Chongrui is." The demonic elephant was stunned, a human that advanced for 3 days. "He seems. I have been captured by the Emperor of the Underworld. I don't even know if he is still alive." Pluto was the beast of hell. Long Fei smirked and said faintly, "Beast of hell." Ha ha. When the demon elephant saw Long Fei's ice-cold expression, its gaze tensed up and said, "Boss, you can't be trying to do something to Pluto, right?" "How unpleasant. I'm the man who's going to blow up his ass." Long Fei laughed sinisterly. The demon elephant was shocked and quickly said, "Boss, no, Pluto is too strong, more than 10 times stronger than me. Furthermore, he is the king of Rift Soul Pass, so we can't even get close to him, let alone explode his chrysanthemum." However, the demon elephant looked at Long Fei strangely and said, "Boss, you really like exploding chrysanthemums? You have a special hobby?" Long Fei's eyes shook and said, "That's right, I just like the chrysanthemums, that explosive people. Especially that fierce fellow's chrysanthemum." The devil elephant took half a step back, and with a jolt of its body, the chrysanthemum flower bloomed. "Boss, you have to be careful. The chrysanthemum flower of Pluto is not that easy to burst. I advise you not to. Moreover, that Qian Changrui guy must have already died. No one can tame Pluto, and no one has the qualifications and power to do so. Boss, I sincerely advise you to forget about it." His eyes were filled with fear. He was truly afraid, because he knew Pluto's power, and he was afraid. Truly too powerful. However, Long Fei laughed. "The stronger I am, the more explosive I want to explode. Bring me there." The demonic elephant gritted its teeth and said, "Fine." Since he had chosen Long Fei, no matter what Long Fei wanted to do, he would follow him with his life on the line. The battle of the Beast King question of God in the distance had also ended. A few notifications sounded in Long Fei's mind, but strangely, the Beast King question of God did not come out. Perhaps he had discovered something. The demonic elephant said, "Boss, it's done." Bang, bang, bang. His steps shook the skies as he crazily charged into the darkness of the primal chaos. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Endless demons and devils rushed forward, but all of them were swept away by the demonic elephant's huge tusks, as if they were on a battlefield. This speed, it was shockingly fast. Ding, 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 ding. The system beep as echoed crazily. No, no, killing machines. 2 hours later, the demon elephant stopped and looked at a dark valley. In the valley, 2 gigantic statues were carved on 2 occasions. Chimei was extremely terrifying. "Boss, Pluto is in the deep valley," the demonic elephant replied. "Do you want me to call him out?" Long Fei carefully looked around the deep valley, his heart secretly shocked. Is this place going to become the second underworld king realm? This Pluto, this deep valley, what exactly is he trying to do? In the depths of the valley, flames suddenly flashed. Boom! The devil elephant's body abruptly sank. It couldn't withstand the force from the flaming gaze, and was sent flying, spitting out a large mouthful of blood. With just a glance, such a powerful demonic elephant was actually unable to withstand it. How strong was this guy? The demonic elephant strenuously replied, "Boss, I'm completely no match for him." Long Fei jumped down from the devil elephant. The idea moved and said, "It's fine, leave the rest to me. You should rest well in war pet space." Putting the demonic elephant back into the hell's base, Long Fei looked at the clump of fiery eyes within the deep valley and took a step forward, walking towards the deep valley. The depths of the valley were incomparably vast. It was so huge that even Long Fei was unable to compare up to it. Walking on the ground, one was like an ant. In the universe's 10,000 worlds, humans were still the weakest existence. Just like how Long Fei was now compared with the huge deep valley. Buzz. A loud sound came from the depths of the ravine. The flame looked down, and immediately the Chimei sprite on both sides of the valley seemed to have come to life. The depths of its eyes revealed a sinister darkness energy, a gigantic amount of power, and its gigantic body suddenly rushed towards Xiang Long Fei. It was incomparably powerful. Long Fei's gaze tensed up, his fists clenched tightly, and his boom, boom, boom. His body exploded with power as the 2 attacks struck down. Long Fei instantly flew into the sky, directly dodging the 2 attacks that landed in front of the demon sprite statue. With a move of his fist, the holy source burned frantically. "Break for me! Rumble!" The fist struck the body of the sprite demon statue. The holy source flew in all directions. Crack! The sculpture continuously cracked, and the crack directly extended all the way to the top of his head. Long Fei's power still unceasingly poured in, and in the end, the entire statue collapsed. The phantom of the sprite disappeared. The source of power was the main body. No matter how strong the main body's power was, it was useless. Long Fei's body shot forward and landed in front of Chi Mei. He glanced at the deep gorge with a cold sneer on his face and said, "Can this kind of fellow block me?" Rumble! Another punch landed. It was smashed to smithereens. Both sides of the valley rapidly caved in as the entire Rift Soul Pass trembled. The giant demons imprisoned inside all roared as if Long Fei's actions had enraged them all. He had provoked the wrath of the masses. Chi Mei was their symbol, their guardian, but right now it was just a pile of broken rocks. Long Fei's gaze swept across the entire area. Feeling the anger of the surrounding giant demons, he walked in front of the demon's head and ruthlessly stepped on it. Crack! The demon's head was trampled into pieces. Long Fei sneered. "You've angered the masses, right? I'm trying to make you angry. Unconvinced. If you don't agree, then come out. Unbridled and extremely arrogant. This time." The giant demons in the Rift Soul Pass were even more enraged as roars filled the air. In the depths of the valley, the pair of flaming eyes glared at him. The surroundings suddenly quieted down. Then, a roar came from the deep valley. Roar! In that instant, the surrounding giant demons instantly entered a berserk state, and all of them charged toward Xiang Longfei with no regard for their lives. This scene was like an army of 1,000,000 charging at them. The ground shook, and rubble tumbled down. Long Fei stood in place without moving an inch, and with a cold smile on his face, he said lightly, "In these 3 years, let me witness the fruits of your cultivation. Heavenly Court, open! Hell, open!" Chapter 1502, The Undying Blood God. Chapter 1502, The Undying Blood God. 2 deep voices resounded. 2 thick stone doors opened. At this moment, the surrounding giant demons rushed down, with fury in their hearts, as they were about to crush Long Fei. At the same time, the red hair and one slash shook the heavens. The tyrannical aura of the Overlord was heavily suppressed. A large area of demon beast was stunned. A wave of devilish mad laughter. Ha 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 ha. Lady Misfortune's move came. The scene, it was ready to explode at any moment. It instantly reached a climax. Long Fei did not walk into the deep valley at all. His gaze was fixated on the ball of flames in the valley, as Demon Beast kept on charging in front of him. However, they were not swept up and sent flying in front of him. The 2 bases of the Heavenly Court and the Infernal Realm were incomparable in strength. Now, they were all getting stronger. Rumble, rumble. The sound of energy rumbled unceasingly as Long Fei smoothly made his way to the entrance of the valley. Looking at the dark valley, he shouted in a deep voice, "Pluto, come out!" Woo! An angry roar came from the valley, followed by the sound of metal scraping against the ground. A series of fires burst out of the darkness. Walala! An ear-piercing sound pierced through the air. A chain struck at Xiang Longfei like a black bolt of lightning. The sleeping beauty suddenly woke up and said, "Master, be careful! Boss, be careful!" Rumble, rumble, rumble. It was unknown when the Beast King question of God appeared, but it did not wait for Long Fei to speak as it leapt into the air and blocked the attack. Beast King question of God. "Ah, ha, ha. You cowardly turtle. You only know how to hide outside of the seal all day long. since you came to my territory today. Go and die." From the darkness came the sound of raging flames. He had assaulted the seal. However, the power of seal coupled with the strength of the Beast King question of God had completely suppressed him. If these two forces were one less, he would definitely be able to break through. The Beast King question of God said solemnly, "It depends on who dies first today." Boom! The power of the semi-realistic realm burst out. Its claws moved, grabbing the huge chain. However, the power on the chain smashed down fiercely, and the Beast King question of God only managed to grab onto half of it. The other half of the chain smashed heavily onto the Beast King question of God's back. Poochie! His skin split open and blood gushed out. The Beast King question of God's body sunk and landed on the ground. It bared its fangs and let out an ear-piercing roar. It backed up a bit and let out a roar. With a leap, he followed the chain deep into the darkness. Longfei's expression tensed up and cried out in his heart, "Crap!" The Beast King question of God was already furious. Right now, he did not care about all that. He only wanted to do one thing, and that was kill the beast of hell. In less than 2 seconds, boom, 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 from the depths of the valley, a series of crazy explosions could be heard. It was like a battle between gods. Ordinary humans could not withstand it at all. If this monster could be tamed, Longfei was even more certain that someone wanted Beast Control Hall to die. How ruthless! The space between Longfei's brows tightened, and he quickly rushed into the darkness. "Little bastard, you still dare to be arrogant in front of me? Your grandfather still hasn't made a move when I was in Rift Soul Pass. How dare you be so impudent in front of me?" Pluto was enraged. It mercilessly struck the Beast King question of God. The Beast King question of God was also not afraid in the slightest as it said, "Pluto, who do you think you are? You are just a dead dog that is struggling at death's door. As long as I am here, you will never be able to leave Rift Soul Pass." Boom, boom. They continued to fight like mad. However, Beast King question of God's strength was still weaker than Pluto's. Half a minute later, boom, boom, boom. From the depths of the earth, chains slithered out like snakes. Swish, swish, swish. Swish, swish, swish. The beast of hell roared, "Lockeray!" The chain quickly wrapped around the entire valley, was tightly bound by the chain. The Beast King question of God's body was tied up. All 4 limbs were tightly bound. Next, whong! A muffled sound rang out, and from the darkness, an incomparably huge bull head slowly walked out. Its 2 sharp horns flashed with a cold light, and its 2 huge fiery bull eyes glared. Boom! His eyes burned, and then his body sank. His front legs dug into the ground, staring at the Beast King question of God that was shackled tightly by the chain. He said sinisterly, "Beast King question of God, go and die." Boom! With a leap, a gigantic black bull soared into the sky. The void was shattered. The surrounding space could not withstand such a powerful impact. It aimed at the Beast King question of God's body and collided with it, let alone the semi-realistic realm. Even a 1-star god would be knocked half to death if they were to be hit by this. The Beast King question of God roared and struggled with all its might, but to no avail. The chains continued to bind him, not giving him any chance at all. "Ah, boss, run." Under such circumstances, the Beast King question of God knew that it would not be able to escape. It could only remind Longfei to leave this place as soon as possible. Escape? I, Longfei, have never written about the word escape in my dictionary. Longfei moved in the air and blocked the Beast King question of God in front of it. He stared at the black yak with wild hair and laughed coldly. "I never thought that the beast of hell would be a black yak." Pluto, the underworld's #1 war beast. power that reached the sky. Pluto stared at the tiny Long Fei and said disdainfully, "Human? Humph, lowly ant-like existence. Go and die together with me." His strength was even stronger. They were unable to resist. There was no way to defend at all. However, Long Fei was not even the least bit afraid. The idea sank into the ground. Let out a shout, "Gods war beasts!" Boom! The gods war beasts rushed out. Looking at the black yak who was running frantically, his gaze tightened. "Damn, Underworld Ox King? Boss, this guy is a freak." Long Fei frowned and shouted, "Fitted soul! Open!" One hand pressed onto the god's war beast's body, instantly absorbing all of its energy. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The energy in Long Fei's body continued to expand and completely absorbed the god's war beast's energy. Long Fei now felt that he was a super god's war beast's. He made a grasping motion with his right hand, holding the huge god's war hammer in his hand. He suddenly moved. At the same time, Long Fei's eyes turned sinister and said solemnly, "Undying blood clan, power of blood god, open!" Boom, boom, boom. The power in Long Fei's body seemed to instantly explode. The strength of a level 80 blood vein soared to its highest point, staring at the approaching beast of hell. Long Fei roared, his fists clenched tightly as he suddenly soared into the air, roaring loudly, "Get down!" A strike from the hammer. Crack! Ka! Kacha! Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Layers of space were crushed. Below the god's hammer, it was as though the strength of a giant god had smashed heavily onto the top of the beast of hell's head. Chapter 1503, Beat Until You Accept. Chapter 1503, Beat Until You Accept. Boom. Moo. The bison let out a painful roar. His body sank. It fiercely smashed into the ground, causing the entire valley to shake. It was as if the entire Rift Soul Pass had collapsed because of the impact. And this burst of energy was simply incomparable. The gods war beasts of the semi-realistic realm. Long Fei's own power of a demigod, adding on the ability of the level 80 blood vein, it was power of blood god. At the moment of death, after being activated by the holy source of 2 million points, these energies were as if they were able to destroy the heavens and the earth. 3 years' time, other than teaching the people in the heavenly court and the infernal realm, Long Fei's own strength was also constantly increasing. The current Long Fei was also completely different from the Long Fei from 3 years ago. Hoo 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 hoo, hoo 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 hoo. The beast of hell gasped for breath as if it had been on a train. Carrying the god's war hammer on his shoulder, Long Fei walked to the beast of hell's side and bellowed, "I'm just asking if you're convinced or not." The beast of hell's eyes stared at Long Fei and said, "Puny human with just you?" Not waiting for him to finish, the god's war hammer in Long Fei's hand moved again, smashing towards the cow's head. Rumble! A deep crater was created. Half of the head of the cow was buried inside. A several-meter-tall bump had formed on the ox's head, and it was in so much pain that it couldn't take care of itself. Long Fei shouted again, "Are you convinced? I refuse to accept this." The beast of hell was still as furious as before. The power in its body burst out crazily, and streams of dark energy were pouring into his body. The Beast King Question of God said loudly, "Boss, be careful. He wants the enlargement stroke." How could the number 1 war beast of the underworld be conquered like this? How could he admit defeat so easily? Furthermore, how could his strength be so insignificant? Impossible. His strength was far more than that. He was smashed down by Long Fei's hammer because he did not even put Long Fei in his eyes and did not even care about Long Fei at all. Because he looked down on Long Fei smashed down with his hammer. The current him He was truly infuriated. The dark arrogance rolled as the power of the underworld surged. Enlargement stroke. You, the great black yak, are returning the enlargement stroke. I'll let you know what's called an enlargement stroke. Long Fei growled. How could he let him off the hook at a time like this? Even the Sleeping Beauty was worried. This meant that the monster was very powerful. It still had a powerful trump card that it had yet to use. Since it had yet to use it, it should not be used. While he was sick, he had to take his life. Long Fei raised his God's War hammer and smashed down heavily. Rumble! The ground cracked. And then the speed of lightning crazily crushed down like a torrential storm. Critical hits after critical hits, hammers after hammers. They specialized in hitting a point. Moreover, he didn't hold back at all. Enlargement stroke. Let it out. If you have the guts, let it out for lousy. Big move. Boom. Boom. Boom, boom. Long Fei attacked quickly like he was forging. The dark arrogance that were gathered on the beast of hell's body could not take much time to gather and scattered. Both the power of the underworld and the power of darkness had been shattered. Come on, show me your move. Long Fei roared and ruthlessly crushed it. For an entire hour, Long Fei had not heard of it, and his body was frantically overdrawing itself. He had no other choice but to use this method to crush the beast of hell. Otherwise, once the beast of hell released the big call, he would have no way to resist and could only activate the energy within the golden cudgel. Come on, overbearing in strength and overwhelming in momentum. Gradually, the beast of hell's willpower was defeated and the dark energy dispersed crazily, never to be gathered again. He had lost faith. The beast of hell wanted to resist, but it couldn't now. Don't fight anymore. The beast of hell said while panting heavily. Long Fei bellowed. Are you convinced? Although the beast of hell was unwilling, he was simply unable to defend against Long Fei's attack. Long Fei had already started to have a shadow in his heart. How could there be such a human? He was simply a madman, crazy as a lunatic. Furthermore, what the beast of hell could not understand was why did Long Fei specially strike a place like this? The big bump on top of his head was blown up to a height of more than 10 meters and was even larger than his head. It was too hard. Tut, do you accept? The beast of hell said angrily, but was still unwilling to accept it in her heart. She shouted, so what if I submit to you? Even the hall master of your beast control hall, Qian Changrui, was unable to do anything to me. So what can you do? Indeed, beasts of hell were not ordinary beasts. Even if they beat him until he was convinced it was useless. It was useless to tame him by force alone. As long as you submit. When Long Fei saw that the beast of hell still had 10 billion HP left, his heart trembled a little. From the first strike, Long Fei's heart had been a little afraid. Because this guy had 30 billion HP. Just how terrifying was this existence? Even with Long Fei's full strength, he was only able to hit out a little more than half of it. Furthermore, Long Fei's holy source was completely exhausted, so he could not sustain it for long. If the beast of hell was still unconvinced, Long Fei really had no way out. He was simply a blood seller. This was too deadly. At the same time, Long Fei was extremely excited. If this fellow became his war pet, he would be an absolute meat shield. Who could kill him? Terrifying enough to make one go mad. Can't tame you. Long Fei grinned and said, You really think so? My sea of consciousness is so much stronger than you can imagine. It's simply impossible for me to control my sea of consciousness. Moreover, my idea can only be controlled by the gods of the underworld. You can't even think of taming me. Is that so? Then let's give it a try. Suddenly, Long Fei fiercely leaped up and swallowed 10 holy source pills. Immediately after, the idea moved, and his right hand pressed down heavily on top of the beast of hell's head. Wang, a powerful beast taming divine power flowed into the beast of hell's sea of consciousness. Just as he said, this guy's sea of consciousness was unimaginably vast. It had truly reached the scope of the word sea. The beast of hell sneered. It's useless. No one in a low plane, like the chaos realm, is able to conquer my sea of consciousness. Kid, I admit that you have some strength, but your beast mastery is simply... Suddenly, the beast of hell's eyes suddenly bulged, and her body couldn't help but tremble. His eyes were filled with terror. Long Fei grinned and asked complacently, basically what? Continue on? Why didn't you say anything? Boy, what power is this? The beast of hell was stunned. Chapter 1504, System Special Reward. Chapter 1504, System Special Reward, Impossible. It's absolutely impossible. The beast trainer on top of the Chaos Realm would never have this kind of power. You. The beast of hell looked at Long Fei as if he was a ghost. His sea of consciousness was as wide as the sea. No one could instantly take over his sea of consciousness. However, Long Fei occupied every corner of his sea of consciousness in an instant. There was only an empty space left, but his idea was still struggling on the edge of death. Long Fei smiled and said, I give you two choices. Either you sign a contract with me, or I force you to become my puppet. Ha ha! At this moment, the beast of hell wanted to resist, but he thought Long Fei couldn't do anything to him. But now he realized that he was completely wrong. The beast of hell's eyes were blazing with fire. Long Fei grinned coldly. There is a limit to my patience. As long as I slightly move, I will be able to strangle my idea in my sea of consciousness, and you will become a puppet without any thoughts. You will eat my poop even if I wanted you to. He was really afraid that the beast of hell would resist. It wouldn't be easy then. Forget about Long Fei being able to resist it. Just transforming him into a puppet was not what Long Fei wanted. The beast of hell's eyes darkened, and its teeth chattered loudly. Long Fei shouted, Make your choice. He did not say anything because he wanted the beast of hell to completely submit to him. He couldn't accept it. However, this is the time for a powerhouse to become king. So even if you refuse to accept it, there is nothing you can do about it. The beast of hell knows this very well. Rage comes down to anger, but he still made a choice. The beast of hell said, Sign the contract. Hee, you're smart. Long Fei grinned. Following that, an array formation contract appeared in the beast of hell's sea of consciousness. The beast of hell moved. Contract, survival. Buzz. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the war pet Bloody Bull of Underworld. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward from the system. The reward is Clock of Hell, Beast. Just like the gods' hammer S that were rewarded, Clock of Hell. The moment the bell rang, Pluto arrived, and then Long Fei gently patted the Bloody Bull of Underworld with his right hand and laughed. Are you regretting it now? The Bloody Bull of Underworld said solemnly, I will never regret the choice I made. Although he said it like that, he was still unwilling to accept it in his heart. After all, Long Fei's methods were rather despicable, and of course, he was being too arrogant. The reason he didn't place Long Fei in his eyes. Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed out loud and said, I know you are convinced, but in the future, you will be convinced. Come, here's a greeting gift for you. After saying that, Long Fei took out the Clock of Hell and said, with your defense coupled with the strength of the Clock of Hell, I believe you would like it a lot, right? Clock of Hell. Underworld holy artifact. It could be said to be a treasure of the netherworld. Seeing it appear, the bloody bull of Underworld was completely stunned, with an excited face. It said, "Clock of Hell, this is the holy artifact that disappeared from the Underworld. My God." You, who exactly are you? Underworld. Did Lord Dark God send you to save me? At this moment, the Beast King Question of God walked up and said, "His name is Long Fei, and from today onwards, he is your boss." And then the Gods War Beasts returned to real face, carried the Gods War hammer on her shoulder, and said, "Did you hear the words of the Beast King Question of God clearly? He's the boss. You came the latest. From now on, you have to hand it over to our brother. Understand?" The bloody bull of Underworld raised its eyes slightly and wanted to refute, but upon seeing the clock of hell, it immediately said, "Boss, second brother, third brother." Ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. The laughter shook the sky as the entire Rift Soul Pass began to shake. The three beasts laughed maniacally in unison. The attacks of the Gods War Beasts, the bravery of Beast King Question of God, Bloody Bull of Underworld S were strong to the point of abnormal defense and HP. These three fellows, once he used the fitted soul to fuse with it, it would simply be a strong explosion. Moreover, Long Fei had been cultivating the fitted soul for the past 3 years. There are still a few dozen more proficiency S to level up. When that happens, if it was a second stage fitted soul, it would not be as simple as fusing with a war beast. It could fuse with multiple war beasts, the body of 3 beasts, an existence that could crush gods in Chaos Realm. Zhan Wushuang, wait! The bloody bull of Underworld suddenly thought of something, the idea moved, and a chain flew out, causing Qian Changrui's entire body to be covered in blood. The blood seller said, "Boss, I had originally wanted to get the method to break the seal from his mouth, but who would have thought that he would actually use the beast mastery on me and get beaten up by me in an instant?" Long Fei looked at Qian Changrui and immediately took out a pellet. Qian Changrui looked at Long Fei and said with a slight smile, "Long Fei, quickly get out. Save Beast Control Hall." Beast Control Hall. Only a few disciples remained at the entrance of the hall as everyone else fled. Boom, boom. Hundreds of golden armor bodyguard surrounded Beast Control Hall. Golden Armor Elder shouted loudly, "The 3 days deadline is up. Quickly hand over the Beast of Hell. If you can't hand it over, don't blame me for being impolite." Ha! Many Golden Armor bodyguard S heavily shouted. Wang Chung said, "Sir, the time limit is 1 hour. An hour? Ha ha ha. What can you do in an hour? Can you bring the dead back to life?" Golden Armor Elder laughed in disdain. "I think you guys won't be able to hand over the Beast of Hell, right? Wait." At this moment, Qian Zhongrui flew over, followed by a large group of Beast Control Hall elders and disciples. With a pleased smile on his face, he said, "Golden Armor Elder, since there's still an hour left, then we should give them another hour. I heard that Long Fei, that dog, also entered the Rift Soul Pass." Golden Armor Elder's gaze darkened. He gritted his teeth. Long Fei? He was the Golden Armor Elder that was sent flying by the Gods War Beasts when Long Fei entered the fairyland of Tower Question of God. He hated this strike to the core. And then Golden Armor Elder laughed coldly and said, "All right, then let's wait for another hour." He wanted to see Long Fei become a joke. Qian Zhongrui was the same. Time passed by second. Soon, an hour had passed. Golden Armor Elder laughed coldly. "You guys also believe in trash like Long Fei? Ha ha. Time's up, I declare. Beast Control Hall will be removed from the list." Not waiting for him to finish, a voice came from afar. Wait. And then, with a roar, the sky seemed to split open. The surroundings were densely packed with darkness, and in the darkness, a gigantic blood cellar unscrupulously rushed out. Chapter 15:05. You don't dare to touch me? Chapter 15:05. You don't dare to touch me? The beast of hell is here. Yes. When the bloody bull of underworld rushed out, Long Fei shouted. Next, the sky and earth shook. The space twisted. The dense black dark arrogance was rolling. The entire tower question of God was shaking, as though it could not bear the impact of the dark energy. Golden Armor Elder was scared silly. Underworld King, beast of hell? Qian Zhongrui also had a silly look on his face as he said, impossible, absolutely impossible. No one can control the beast of hell, and no one can tame him. My big brother won't be able to succeed. The super war beast of this forbidden grounds could also be said to be one of the strongest war beasts in the entire chaos realm. If he could control and tame it, someone would have tamed him long ago. However, since the birth of the Tower Question of God, no one in the Beast Control Hall had succeeded. Moreover, most people died in Rift Soul Pass. It was also because of this that he had allowed the Beast King Question of God to guard it. Now that the Beast of Hell appeared right in front of them, they couldn't imagine what had happened. However, something was still happening that they could not imagine. Rumble. The dark arrogance swept and flicked. Buzz. It was like a powerful shockwave had been shot out. Shwa. It was visible with the naked eye that the bodies of the Golden Armor Bodyguard S were split in half, leaving only one Golden Armor Elder spewing blood, instantly killing more than 100 Golden Armor Bodyguard S. Furthermore, it was only an attack from a powerful aura. How powerful was this? Ding, ding, ding. A series of notifications exploded. A smile blossomed on Long Fei's face. Fierce, fierce, too fierce. Ha! This is great. What I want is this kind of rhythm. At this moment, Qian Zhongrui's scalp was going numb. It was as if his head could not bear the impact. And he said solemnly, Long Fei, you dare to kill Golden Armor Bodyguard. I think you're tired of living. Long Fei grinned and laughed. Are you fucking blind? Did you see me do it? It was clearly the Beast of Hell S who took action. How can you cling on to my head? Right. Didn't you want the Beast of Hell? Didn't you want to get the Beast Control Hall removed from the Tower Question of God? Come on, accept the Beast of Hell now. Long Fei stared at Qian Zhongrui and laughed coldly. After 3 years of hibernation, Long Fei was completely different from 3 years ago. He was very clear that Zhan Wushuang would never choose a war beast from the underworld, nor would the Tower Question of God S allow it. It was obvious that someone was trying to make things difficult for Qian Zhongrui, and this person was definitely Qian Zhongrui. Indeed, Qian Rui wanted to control the Beast Control Hall, and then give the Dragon Clan Master Beast to Zhan Wushuang. But now, the situation was already out of his control. The faces of the elders beside him all paled. Great Elder, what do we do now? The Beast of Hell can't block it at all. Just one chi was able to instantly kill all those Golden Armor Bodyguard. I'm afraid we... Qian Zhongrui's eyes stared wide and shouted, What are you afraid of? A Beast of Hell. And Long Fei might even tame him. Is there a need to be afraid? All of you listen up. If you can't take down the Beast Control Hall today, don't even think about getting away with it. He heavily humphed. At this time, Qian Zhongrui walked out with a slightly pale face and said, Zhongrui, turn around and face the shore. Uffed. Qian Zhongrui spat out a mouthful of phlegm and laughed coldly. Qian Zhongrui, back then when the lightning beast was tamed by Long Fei, you clearly knew that it was my beast, but what about you? Not even letting out a fart, and also letting him participate in the Beast Master School selection. Do you really have a younger brother like me in your eyes? You're crying like a cat. Qian Chongrui, from that day onwards, I did not have a brother like you. At that time, I swore that I would definitely control the Beast Control Hall, and that I would make you pay for it. I was the one who told the Golden Armor Elder to do it, so you entered the Rift Soul Pass to die. I never thought that not only were you not dead, you even brought the Beast of Hell out. Very good, Qian Chongrui. I have really underestimated you, but Beast of Hell are underworld beasts. They are not allowed by Tower Question of God. You let them out on your own, and even killed Golden Armor Bodyguard. Hee hee. Qian Zhongrui sneered sinisterly and said, Golden Armor Elder, what should be your punishment? Golden Armor Elder laughed coldly and said, You deserve to die for your crimes. Qian Zhongrui laughed complacently. Did you hear that? You want to fight me? I have 10,000 ways to kill you. Ha ha ha. It's all because of you. Because you're on the wrong team. You picked the wrong guy. You understand? His gaze turned cold. Qian Zhongrui glared fiercely at Long Fei and said, Brat, this is all because of you. You dog, trash like you aren't worthy enough to enter the Tower Question of God. Just trash like you, not waiting for him to finish. Long Fei's idea moved. Shua. It instantly appeared in front of Qian Zhongrui. Both of his eyes stared at Qian Zhongrui coldly. I am trash? Then what are you? It was also at this moment the Thunder Beast rushed out and floated above Qian Zhongrui's head, the crackling lightning on its body crazily wreaking havoc. Qian Zhongrui's body started to tremble. Looking at the lightning beast in the sky, the hatred in his heart grew even stronger, and he said gloomily, Long Fei, if you dare touch me, Saint Presbyter will definitely not let you off. In this life, don't even think of entering the Tower Question of God, and don't even think of clearing 100 layers of God's tower. Ha ha ha. You want to save Xian Yuan Lier, right? She has already broken through the 90 levels of God's tower and will soon be able to enter the ancient holy battlefield with Master Wu Shuang. Ha ha ha. Who do you think you are? You want to kill me? Come on, kill me. In your entire life, don't even think about stepping half a step into the Tower Question of Goddess. Come and kill me. Ha ha. Laughing wildly, the rage in his heart flared. He knew Long Fei's fatal weakness, so he concluded that Long Fei did not dare to touch him. However, he didn't understand Long Fei at all. Long Fei's lips curved into a death god-like cold smile and said, Are the Tower Question of God that awesome? Are you that awesome? Awesome. I like to kill people who think they're amazing. Thunder Beast. With a roar, Long Fei's idea moved. The lightning beast in the sky suddenly moved. A lightning spear appeared in its hand. Qian Zhongrui's body trembled slightly as he said, Long Fei, you dog, try touching me. Not waiting for him to finish. Crack. The sky exploded. The Thunder Beast's lightning spear pierced down. However, without waiting for the lightning to strike him, Long Fei turned his right hand, and the sword of Destroy began to burn. Cut! With a horizontal slash, blood spurted out. When Qian Zhongrui's head came off, he stomped down fiercely with his right foot and immediately exploded with his foot. I hate it when others are in danger. I don't dare to touch you. Chapter 1506. Go ahead and do it. Chapter 1506. Go ahead and do it, ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Qian Zhongrui for obtaining 19,000 experience, 1,000 holy source, and 10 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the ancient holy artifact, Beast Controlling Rope. Ding. Energy level complete. Current energy level 81. One ancient holy artifact was equal to 10 levels of energy. The energy of the Golden Cudgel had now risen to the 81st level. If the 100 levels were all paragons, then he would only be missing 19 levels. Golden Armor Elder's face darkened. He did not even dare to breathe. His body turned into a ball of light and instantly escaped. The Imperial City immediately shouted out, "Brother Long Fei, he escaped." The corner of Long Fei's mouth curled up as he looked at the fleeing Golden Armor Elder. He gave a cold laugh and said, "It's fine. Let him go." It was also at this time. Bang, bang, bang. Those elders of the Beast Control Hall all kneeled on the ground and started begging, "Mercy, my lord. We were forced to do so. Lord, please forgive us this once." They were extremely afraid that Qian Zhongrui had already been killed. Long Fei did not look at Qian Chongrui's eyes. This kind of person would betray you the first time and sell you the second because their world was free for them and their interests. This kind of person was the kind of person Long Fei hated the most. "Spare you. Let Yama forgive you." Long Fei's eyes darkened. Boom. Boom. The lightning beast was enraged. The lightning spear from before did not hit anyone for Long Fei, but this time he released the lightning field immediately. Crackle, crackle. Rumble, rumble. A few elders and disciples were struck into smithereens by the lightning while Long Fei and his men flew madly. Just that. These people's experience was simply too low. He only had 3 digits of experience. This was also because Long Fei's level was too high for them. Now, what Long Fei wanted was not experience, but energy values. It had been a long time since there had been a huge explosion. This time, Long Fei was about to explode. After a few seconds, the lightning disappeared, and Long Fei, the 6 disciples, and the Hall Master were the only ones left in the Beast Control Hall. There were only 8 people left in the huge Beast Control Hall. It could be said to be incomparably withered. Long Fei walked to Qian Chongrui's side. When he was about to speak, Qian Chongrui first said, "You didn't do wrong. They could sell the Beast Control Hall out once, then they could sell it twice. These people aren't even worthy to join the Beast Control Hall." Long Fei looked at Qian Chongrui. Qian Chongrui patted Long Fei's shoulder and said, "From now on, you are the Hall Master of the Beast Control Hall." Long Fei was startled. The 6 disciples from the royal city were also stunned. Long Fei said, "Hall Master, I do not wish to be a Hall Master. Moreover, I am unable to manage the Beast Control Hall. Not to mention the Hall Master of the Beast Control Hall. Even the Tower Master of the Tower Question of Goddess, Long Fei, was not interested in it." Qian Chongrui laughed blandly. "I know, from the first moment I saw you, I knew that the Tower Question of God would not be able to keep you alive, and that the Chaos Realm would not be able to keep you either. But the situation is different now. I am heavily injured, the Golden Armor Elder has escaped, and the elders of the Beast Control Hall have been killed. The Tower Question of God will definitely not let you get away. I hope that you can wait for them to leave the Tower Question of God. This place." Qian Chongrui smiled bitterly and said, "This place has changed. It is no longer the Tower Question of God of the past. 9 secret warrior family has already covered the sky with one hand. Not only here, the Hell Gate of the mortal world has already taken control of the Bounty Gate and the Myriad Alliance. It can be said that the Zhan clan is now the ruler of the Chaos Realm. Long Fei, I know you are very strong. Your potential is limitless, but Zhan family has a divine-level powerhouse. Zhan Wushuang can immediately break through the Tower Question of God. After he enters the ancient holy battlefield, Zhan family will have another divine-level powerhouse, and no one in the Chaos Realm will be able to shake them. Get out of here. The farther the better." Over the course of 3 years, too many things had happened. The 9 secret warrior family could already be considered as one of the Chaos Realm. In these 3 years, The power of the 9 secret warrior family were like a virus slowly eroding the tower question of God. Law Enforcement Hall, Refining Branch, Alchemy Hall, even the Saint Presbyter, who was in charge of the God's Tower, was bought. They were all under the command of the Jean clan. Long Fei was slightly taken aback. I never thought that so many things would actually happen in these 3 years. I wonder how 8 King Kong is doing right now. A divine, right? 9 secret warrior family unites Chaos Realm. That's even better. I don't have to go look for them, one by one. Long Fei was not afraid. Long Fei looked at the gigantic golden pagoda towering above the clouds in the distance, and said with the corners of his mouth slightly raised, "Then I'll start from the tower question of God. Break it in one go." And then Long Fei said, "Hall Master, can you help me investigate a few things?" Qian Chongrui said, "Go ahead." Long Fei said, "Help me check on Yi Jingyun. Where are the 2 of them right now? Have they entered the tower question of God yet?" Also, Long Fei thought of the fairy sister. She knew about her father Long Zhanting's situation and said, "Help me investigate where Elder Wang Shishir is." Qian Chongrui nodded his head and said, "All right, I will do it right away." Long Fei said, "I'll be troubling Hall Master. If you have any difficulties, leave immediately. Don't make things difficult for yourself." Qian Chongrui smiled faintly. "Although I haven't been doing much in the past few years, I still have some good friends. It shouldn't be difficult for me to look up a few things for you." However, Long Fei, what do you want to do next? "You really won't leave this place." Qian Chongrui was a little worried. Long Fei said, "Leaving? How could I bear to leave?" The tower question of God here had an endless number of bosses, and they also had, if he did not knock Zhan Wushuang over, would he leave? The first time, he wasn't a match for her. The second time was not his opponent. The third level, Long Fei absolutely could not allow himself to lose again. In addition, Long Fei hesitated. Qian Chongrui asked, "If you have something to say, then say it. Since you are not leaving, then I will go all out. At worst, I will just die, and my life in Rift Soul Pass will definitely die." Long Fei asked, "Can you tell me the location of the array formation in the Beast Control Hall?" Qian Chongrui's eyes trembled. Long Fei said, "I want to tame all of them." Although he did not say it, in his heart, he wanted the Dragon Clan master the most. Long Fei was sure. This dragon ancestor definitely came from the divinity. Qian Chongrui laughed excitedly and said, "Ha ha ha. Good. Those abnormal people have not been tamed in our beast control hall for thousands of years, and no one has dared to go in for hundreds of years. Now it is time for them to experience the power of the beast control hall. Long Fei, go ahead. Let this world tremble. Because of you." Chapter 1507. Monsters. Chapter 1507. Monsters. Since he wanted to play, he might as well play a little bit more. From the examination to the entry of the tower question of God, they had targeted him at every turn and treated him unfairly. If he did not overturn such a place, then he would not be Long Fei. Moreover, when he saw the saint among the gods' tower, each and every one of them glimmering with golden light, he became even more excited. 1 level, 1 boss. 100 levels, 100 bosses. This was no god's tower. This was simply a boss concentration camp. How could he not explode? If he did not explode, then why would he have striking system S? Better to go home and plant sweet potatoes. If Golden Armor Elder escaped, it wouldn't be long before he would bring a large group of powerhouse with him. Long Fei was not afraid. However, it would be even more interesting if he could release all of the monsters in the Forbidden Area before then. This is the Forbidden Area that Swamp Troll is locked in. The King's City held a secret history book. This book was a top-secret book of the Beast Control Hall, and it recorded information on all the monsters in the Forbidden Grounds. Swamp Troll can release swamps with a radius of thousands of kilometers, and these swamps can swallow and release poisonous gas. I heard that he has killed hundreds of millions of people in his life. It is simply a nightmare for humans. The expression on the face of the city leader changed slightly as he asked, "Hundreds of millions of warriors. Isn't this way too terrifying?" Long Fei laughed. "I like it the more terrifying it is. You guys wait outside. I'll go in alone." It was extremely dangerous inside, and would only be helpless if they were to enter. The Imperial City was clear of this as well. "Big Brother Long Fei, be careful." Buzz. The door to the Forbidden Grounds opened, and Long Fei stepped into. The poisonous gas swirled around and emitted green bubbles. Looking around, there was no end in sight. They were all poisonous bogs, and this kind of swamp was not saying that you would be okay if you flew in the air. It would produce a strong suction force that would crazily absorb you, just like changing the gravity. If you wanted to fly, you would need to spend multiple times the support of the Holy Source. Ordinary warriors wouldn't be able to support you flying to the end of the swamp. Once you enter, you can forget about leaving here alive. This was his terror. Long Fei was slightly overjoyed. Not bad, not bad. This kind of guy would be like a nightmare on the battlefield. And then Long Fei's gaze darkened as he roared loudly and said, "I will only say it once. If you become my war pet, I will give you a wonderful world." Ha ha ha. From the depths of the swamp came a creepy laughter, sinister as if it had come from hell. "It's been 1,300 years. Did your tower question of God's beast control hall send a kid like you down? The amount of meat on your body is not even enough to fill the gaps in my teeth." The swamp troll said in disdain, "Do you know how the person who said those words in front of me died? Those who go crazy or die. Because he can't get out at all." Ha ha ha. Long Fei chuckled. He did not say much. The idea moved, releasing the bloody bull of Underworld, and said, "Blood Seller, go teach him how to conduct himself." The bloody bull of Underworld laughed and said, "Understood." Then an incomparably huge blood cellar descended from the sky and abruptly dropped down. The swamp was like a piece of grass, collapsing. The swamp troll's face sank. The underworld god's war beast, bloody bull of Underworld, how could you be tamed? Not waiting for him to finish, the bloody bull of Underworld cupped its fists and flew deep into the sky, then roared out, "The beast that made you the boss thought highly of you. Don't be stupid." Boom. The two fists heavily smashed down. The swamp troll could not withstand the bloody bull of Underworld's power at all, so the entire swamp began to tremble and began to bubble with blood. Just like that, the amount of blood on the swamp troll's head had decreased by a third. He wasn't good at defense. Moreover, swamp troll were most afraid of huge monsters like Bloody Bull of Underworld. Their bodies were huge, and their strength was explosive. The most important thing was that their defense seemed to be invincible. Without waiting for the Bloody Bull of Underworld to finish her second move, she immediately said, "I surrender, I surrender, I surrender." The Bloody Bull of Underworld shouted and said, "Wouldn't it have been better this way earlier? From now on, you have to call me Fourth Brother." The swamp troll was startled and said, "Blood Seller, you have two monsters in front of you?" The Bloody Bull of Underworld shouted, "That's our second and third brother. What kind of monster is that? Be careful when you speak. Don't bring trouble upon yourself." The swamp troll immediately did not dare to say a single word. Long Fei released his spirit-controlling technique and easily tamed the swamp troll, turning it into his new war pet. After entering the war pet space, the swamp troll looked at God's war beasts and was slightly stunned. They really are monsters. Call him second brother. Call him third brother. Swamp Troll didn't dare to move. He could only do as he was told. Buzz. Long Fei walked out of the forbidden grounds and said faintly, "Next." The few people in the capital had yet to react. They were still worried for Long Fei, but it had only been half an hour, and he had already subdued the Swamp Troll. This was a giant demon that had swallowed over 100 million martial artists. Just like that, the Imperial City was in disbelief and asked, "Big Brother Long Fei, the Swamp Troll inside?" Long Fei smiled lightly. "You'll be able to see it in the future." What's the next one? Opening the secret history of the kingdom. Half an hour later, another super beast was beaten to a state where it could not take care of itself under the pressure of the god's hammer. Finally, it was tamed by Long Fei and brought out of the forbidden grounds. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a new war pet. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a new war pet. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a new war pet. The system beep would ring every once in a while. These new war pet were all terrifyingly strong. Moreover, they were all slaughter machines with blood on their hands. Hundreds of thousands, millions, and millions of lives were taken, and because of this, they were imprisoned in the secret world. The people who imprisoned them before also wanted to tame them and send them to ancient holy battlefield. However, no one could do it. These fellows came from all sorts of places and could be said to be extremely vicious. The forbidden grounds of the beast control hall were like a prison, a monster that had been imprisoned for 100 years, 1,000 years, and even tens of thousands or even millions of years. Once these villains were released, it would be a heaven-defying existence. The Imperial City pointed to an ancient stone tablet. On it were carvings of simple runes. He looked at the history and said, "Big Brother Long Fei, this is the last forbidden grounds." The records of the secret history are very vague. It's just that the war beasts locked up inside are too terrifying they can't be released, and even more so, they can't be tamed. If they fail, the entire chaos realm might turn into ashes. It says, "It looks like a dragon inside." Chapter 1508, Colorful Fairy Dragon. Chapter 1508, Colorful Fairy Dragon. Buzz. The Forbidden Grounds array opened. Long Fei barged in alone. The sky was dark. He couldn't see the end of it. The surrounding air was calm, without a single ripple. The feeling Long Fei got was it. There's nothing here, according to the descriptions of the gods' martial continent. And the rest, the disaster of the divinity's dragon race should have happened millions of years ago. Could the dragon race master in the Chaos Realm have escaped at that time? Or another time? Long Fei didn't know, but he really wanted to know about the divinity dragon race, because he was a disciple of the Long family, but the blood of the dragons flowed in his bones. Because the disciples of the Long family were all disciples of the dragon race. His father and his grandfather were both disciples of the dragon race in the divinity, but they had appeared in this world in a different way. Huff! Long Fei exhaled a deep breath as he released the idea. Boom, boom, boom. 10 kilometers, 100 kilometers. There was no aura at all within the 100,000 kilometers. Long Fei did not know if it was because his cultivation was not high enough, or if the entire secret world was a wasteland with nothing at all. He did not sense anything. How could this be? Could it be that he died inside, and his body has already turned into a pile of mud? Long Fei muttered in his heart, let alone the dragon race. Even the gods would die. No one could resist the corrosion of time, let alone millions of years, in such a small secret world. Who could endure it? Long Fei kept the idea and shouted loudly, "Is there anyone here?" The sound echoed in all directions. After a long time, no one answered him. Long Fei did not give up. He summoned his fire unicorn and flew out tens of thousands of kilometers before shouting, "Is there anyone here?" Still no one responded. Long Fei's heart calmed down and said slightly, "Looks like I really turned into a pile of mud." Sigh. Sighing softly, Long Fei muttered, "I came a little late." And then Long Fei turned and was about to leave. At this moment, a voice sounded as if it was coming from the heavens. "Kid, buzz." Long Fei's sea of consciousness was shocked. Dragon Race's pressure? In an instant, the blood in his body seemed to have been ignited, and he immediately became excited. He's really from the Dragon Race. He was well aware of the Dragon Race's aura, this kind of incomparable attribute: green dragon ancestor, black dragon ancestor, sea dragon ancestor. He was very clear on the aura of these dragon ancestral immortals. However, compared to the Dragon Race's aura from before, the green dragon ancestor, and the rest's aura was like that of a 3-year-old child playing around. They were not on the same level at all. In that instant, a huge multicolored scale was imprinted in the sky, and it was an incomparably ferocious dragon head. His eyes slightly moved as he stared at Long Fei, who was as big as an ant, and asked, "Little guy, are you looking for me?" Huge. It was incomparably huge. Furthermore, the multicolored scales on his body caused Long Fei's heart to fiercely shudder as he thought in his heart, "Damn, it can't be a colorful fairy dragon, right? That would truly be awesome." In front of this huge dragon, Long Fei did not dare to have any disrespect towards it. For some unknown reason, he felt as if he was subdued by a kind of power, and revered it from the bottom of his heart, and said, "Senior, I am looking for you." The colossal dragon replied with a slight smile, "Why are you looking for me?" Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. He did not hide anything, and said, "I want to know about the divinity dragon race. I want to return to divinity." Divinity? A slight ripple appeared in the colossal dragon's eyes, as if it was a long, long time ago. It muttered to itself, and repeated, "Divinity, divinity. Return to the divinity." Suddenly, the colossal dragon's gaze darkened. His pupils suddenly shrank, staring straight at Long Fei as he shouted loudly, "Who exactly are you?" Rumble! 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 Space itself began to crack and distort. The might of the dragon race seemed as though the heavens and earth were collapsing as they crushed Xiang Long Fei's mind and soul. "Boss! Boss, be careful. Boss, if you let me out, would the old guy from the divinity be that amazing?" The gods' war beasts shouted. Very unhappy, these monster beasts all rushed out to help Long Fei take responsibility, but Long Fei did not let them out. If added together, these fellows were probably no match for this colossal dragon. If he really is a colorful fairy dragon, these war beasts would be pulverized by him in an instant. Long Fei's body sank heavily. Poochie! He spat out a mouthful of blood. All of his internal organs were in a tumultuous mess, and his muscles felt like they were going to explode. Every single one of his pores were oozing with blood, and it was impossible for him to withstand such a powerful pressure. Long Fei's body trembled as he said with difficulty, "Senior, I am also a disciple of the dragon clan." "You." The colossal dragon revealed a disdainful look, then said, "The blood essence in your body is not even at the dragon blood activation of 1%. Your blood vein is also not of the dragon race. Your body is not even of the dragon race. If not, you would not have been unable to withstand my pressure. Kid, you want to lie to me? You're too inexperienced. Speak, who exactly are you? What is the purpose of your visit?" The colossal dragon's voice exploded again. Long Fei's sea of consciousness seemed like it was about to explode. It was too uncomfortable, and his breathing became hurried. Long Fei moved. "Golden cudgel." Rank 1. Boom. It quickly transformed into a dragon coffin. Long Fei took out the dragon coffin and said, "There is a special reason why my body is like this, but you know this thing, right?" Once the dragon coffin appeared, the colossal dragon's expression suddenly changed. Slightly feeling it, he said each word solemnly. "Main artifact, dragon coffin, the ultimate treasure of the dragon clan. Why is it in your hands?" His eyes were filled with greed. At this moment, the magic body immediately sensed it. Who wouldn't want to face a main artifact? Long Fei slightly moved to put the dragon coffin away and said, "I am the reincarnation of the Yuan Long. The divinity's dragon race is fleeing everywhere. A dragon race is escaping to the gods' martial continent. They are bringing the main artifact with them." Impossible. At that time, there were only a few members in the Yuan Long branch. It was impossible for them to escape to a lower plane like the gods' martial continent. That would affect their growth in cultivation. Wait. The colossal dragon's eyes turned cold. God's martial continent. The place they should be at is the Chaos Realm. No wonder. They went to the gods' martial continent. And we have waited here for millions of years in vain. A mere Yuan Long wants to keep it for itself. Suddenly, anger exploded. Chapter 1509. Main Temple is nothing. Chapter 1509. Main Temple is nothing. Disaster had befallen the dragon race. Many of the dragon clan disciples didn't know why. They only knew that no team escaped from divinity with an item. As for what it was, they had no idea. Only a few people knew. He had initially planned for a small team to enter the Chaos Realm. However, they followed the lost course and mistakenly entered the gods' martial continent. However, even after entering the gods' martial continent, one wouldn't be able to escape a calamity that lasted 3,330,000 years. It was also because the gods' martial continent was too small and the level of calamity wasn't as fierce as the other higher planes. Only then was he able to live on with his last breath. However, those who knew of the whereabouts of the main artifact entered the Chaos Realm. However, one had to wait for millions of years and nothing had come. In order to protect himself, to avoid being hunted down, he had no choice but to shrink inside the tower question of God's beast master forbidden area. He didn't think there was any hope in this life. Unexpectedly, the main artifact dragon coffin suddenly appeared in front of him. Millions of years of waiting had greatly changed his temperament. He suspected that this was all part of the dragon clan's internal conspiracy. He suspected that someone had colluded with an outsider. He suspected main artifact had long since returned to the main temple. Now that he had suddenly appeared, the anger in his heart burst forth. He felt as if he was being toyed with. The flames of fury burned. Flames covered the sky. The entire sky seemed to be burning. Long Fei was overwhelmed with shock in his heart. This was the true dragon's fury. At this moment, the bloody bull of underworld did not make a single sound. The unruly gods war beasts did not have a single bit of temper, and the Tong Tian beast shrunk into a ball. The sky-swallowing rat all lost their temper. All of them had been crushed by Long knew compared to the colossal dragon. They were too weak. He was simply a weak existence. You dare to play with me? The colossal dragon's voice exploded. Boom, boom. Layer by layer, they came crashing down. Long Fei could see space shattering, and the entire secret world was shaking. This kind of array formation wanted to control the gigantic dragon. It was impossible. This was because he didn't want to leave. Otherwise, who would be able to stop him? He was constantly being crushed. The moment Long Fei's violent temper surfaced, he let out a loud roar and said, "So what if I'm playing with you?" aren't you playing with the Azure Dragon, Yuan Long, and the others? It's just that they didn't enter the Chaos Realm according to your instructions. Even if they toyed with you, if it was according to your plan, I'm afraid you would have been burnt to ashes. How could you still have a life to show off in front of me? You have no idea what we've been through. You have only been living here and hiding for millions of years. Do you know about the Sky Law tribulation that happens only once every 3,330,000 years? Do you know how many dragons died because of this? You actually dare to say that we're playing with you? Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed coldly and shouted arrogantly, "Why don't you think about what you did wrong?" He was sure of it now. Green dragon ancestor. And the rest were just pawns to the dragon race. He even thought that once the giant dragon obtained the main artifact, Azure Dragon, and the others would be abandoned in an instant. The main artifact. If you get it, you can go to heaven. Long Fei's words weren't loud, but each and every one of them stung the heart. Millions of years. If he hadn't slammed that thing down and entered the tomb, the dragon race wouldn't have faced such a calamity. He was once the ruler of the dragon clan's divinity, but now, is there even a single dragon left in the divinity? Even the dragons of the 100,000 planes controlled by the main temple were shrinking like rats in the cave, not daring to reveal their dragon race's strength. They were afraid that they would offend Sky Law. The huge dragon withdrew its aura and became silent. His eyes also became a lot dimmer. It was as if he had suddenly aged, and he was incomparably exhausted. After a long time, the huge dragon raised his eyes, looked at Long Fei, and asked, "Then what are you doing here?" Long Fei said, "I want you to help me. I want the dragon race to rise up once again. I want those people who are chasing after the dragon race, and those who instigated the heavenly tribulation to die under our dragon's might." The huge dragon trembled, looked at Long Fei, and smiled. "You're too ignorant. You have no idea who those people are. You have no idea how strong they are. You want the dragon race to rise again." Ha ha ha. The colossal dragon sneered. There was a hint of helplessness within his smile. This was once his dream. However, now that he thought about it, he felt that it was funny. This dream was simply an illusion. It was impossible. Long Fei cursed, "Laugh at your sister. If you say it's satisfying, are you going to help or not? If you don't, I'll leave immediately. When I allow the dragon race to rise again, I'll get people to bring you back to the divinity. You won't feel aggrieved if you hide here for millions of years." Long Fei coldly snorted. The huge dragon looked at Long Fei and asked, "Do you know who our enemies are?" Long Fei said, "At most, it is only Main Temple." "Main Temple?" The huge dragon laughed. "The power of Main Temple is nothing. We don't even have the qualifications to carry their shoes. Do you think that our dragon race has never had a god in the divinity for so many years? Aren't there any sovereigns? The dragon race is the world's most powerful race. Dragon warrior, dragon knight, and devil dragon mage. Many sovereign powerhouses have appeared, but they have all been destroyed. Just based on those people from the main temple? Kid, you're too ignorant. You know too little." The colossal dragon said indifferently, as he thought about those terrifying things in his mind. His mind couldn't help but tremble. Long Fei was stunned. He thought that the strongest would not be the influence of the main temple. However, the colossal dragon's words made him feel too small. He thought that he was very strong and that he knew a lot. However, all of a sudden, he felt as ignorant as a 3-year-old. Even the main temple does not have the qualifications to lift shoes. How powerful is this? Long Fei was dumbstruck. At the same time, he got excited. How strong is that boss? The dragon said with a wry smile, "Brat, there are too many things in this world that you don't know about. Our dragon race is being fiercely suppressed by a powerful force. This power will definitely not let us go." At this moment, the Sleeping Beauty suddenly said, "He's right." If Long Fei did not believe her, then he had no choice but to believe in the Sleeping Beauty. When Long Fei thought of the 9 dragon coffins, Sleeping Beauty, Long Fei's heart sank even more. Damn it, what kind of world is this? His blood was boiling. Seeing that Long Fei did not speak, the huge dragon asked gently, "Do you still want to lead the dragon race to rise again? Do you still want to return to the divinity?" There was a hint of contempt in his words. He had also said what Long Fei had said before. He was looking down on Long Fei and also ridiculing himself. However, Long Fei's eyes flashed with excitement, and he said in a heavy tone, "I want to, and I will definitely do it. Will you help me?" At this moment, the colorful fairy dragon was a little dumbfounded. Chapter 1510, Gathering of the Army. Chapter 1510, Gathering of the Army Tower Question of God. Law Enforcement Hall. Reverse him. If not for the appearance of the Divine Awareness token last time, he would have died a long time ago. This time, I want to see if you will die or not. A senior elder of the Law Enforcement Hall shouted. 3 years ago, Long Fei killed the law enforcement elder. This made him extremely unhappy, because in the history of the Law Enforcement Hall, this was the first time someone dared to challenge the authority of the Law Enforcement Hall. He especially hated Long Fei. When he received the news that the golden armor bodyguard had been killed, he immediately jumped up. "It's been 3 years. If you don't become his disciple, you would still dare to jump out. Long Fei, oh Long Fei, let's see how you can escape this time. Let's see who can save you now." The law enforcement officials sneered, then merged together and said, "Pass down my order, call all 8 law enforcing elders over." One of the elders spoke out. "Hall Master, should we first report this matter to the Tower Lord before making a decision?" Report what? Killing the golden armor bodyguardess who maintain the order of the Tower Question of God is a challenge to the Tower Question of God. He is rebelling. There is no need to report at all. Just kill him directly. The law enforcement officials laughed coldly. Golden armor bodyguard's position was not high, but they were the guards of the Tower Question of God. Making a move on them was equivalent to opposing the entire Tower Question of God. Moreover, Long Fei had killed so many Beast Control Hall elders, which made it even more impossible for him to escape his guilt. Another elder said, "Hall Master, I heard that Long Fei has tamed the Beast of Hell. This monster is extremely difficult to deal with. I'm afraid." Law enforcement officials slightly said, "What are you afraid of? Long Fei was only one person. So what if he tamed the heavens? As long as we kill him, everything will be over. Send the order. In half an hour, send troops to the Beast Control Hall." "Yes, sir." Law enforcement officials looked into the distance and revealed a complacent smile. He muttered to himself, "Little bastard, this time you won't be able to jump up high. Ha ha ha." Golden Armor War Hall. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. The battle drums shot up into the sky. Golden Armor Bodyguard S of the entire Tower Question of God quickly returned to the battle hall as over 10,000 of them gathered together. "You dare to touch our Golden Armor War Hall? A mere Long Fei. You've eaten the heart of a bear leopard. Now I will definitely kill him on the spot." Golden Armor Bodyguard, listen up. "Ha!" The square roared in unison. An elder took out his sword, pointed at the direction of Beast Control Hall, and said, "Target Beast Control Hall, advance." Ha! Tens of thousands of people flew together, charging towards the Beast Control Hall. At this moment, the entire Tower Question of God felt a killing intent that filled the sky. Inside temple question of God. A few Saint Presbyter S smiled. This Long Fei is really courting death. It's not right to come up with such a waste of a disciple, but he has to come out to seek death. I let him live for 3 more years. This time, I definitely can't let him live again. You're right. If he didn't jump out this time, I would have forgotten about him. A few Saint S discussed. At this moment, suddenly, a shadow entered the shrine. The expression on the face of the hall elder faltered, standing up and saying respectfully, "Young Master Wu Shuang." The image of Jean Wu Shuang. He is currently in the midst of training in the 98th floor of the God's Tower. However, even if he was in the God's Tower S, he could control the entire situation and know what happened to the Tower question of God. Jean Wu Shuang slightly said, "Since Long Fei has appeared again, then let's kill him." Xian Yuan, Li Er erupted with unimaginable potential and stepped into the 90th floor of the God's Tower. It was only a matter of time before he broke through to the 100th floor. There was no need to worry now. Thus, Long Fei no longer had any value in using it. Perhaps Long Fei's sudden death would stimulate Xian Yuan Li Er even more, and he would unleash even more powerful potential to break through the 100 levels of God's Tower with him and enter the ancient holy battlefield. An elder immediately said, "Young master, don't worry. This time, we will definitely not let Long Fei live in this world again. We will go personally." Jean Wu Shuang nodded and said, "This is for the best. In addition, I do not wish for Long Fei to enter the Tower question of God." The elder replied, "As you command." Then, Jean Wu Shuang's silhouette disappeared. Suddenly, in the 90th level of the training field, Buzz. Xian Yuan Li Er frowned and asked, "What are you doing here?" Jean Wu Shuang smiled slightly and said, "Junior sister, I have come to tell you something." Xian Yuan Li Er asked, "What is it?" Jean Wu Shuang said, "Long Fei has offended the Law Enforcement Hall, the Golden Armor War Hall, the Refining Branch, the Alchemy Hall, and even the Tower question of God's Sacred Hall Elder. I wonder how long he can last." Xian Yuan Li Er's body slightly trembled. He suddenly stood up and asked, "What did you say?" Jean Wu Shuang said indifferently, "I want to tell you, Long Fei might not be able to last much longer." No. Big brother Long Fei will definitely not die." Xian Yuan Li Er's voice trembled a little. Suddenly, she turned towards the Saint Presbyter and said, "Elder, I want to go out. Let me go out." The Saint Presbyter opened his eyes and said, "If you can open up 100 layers of God's Tower, not only can you get out, the Tower Lord can also help you solve all the problems in the Chaos Realm." Jean Wu Shuang said, "Junior Sister Lear, there is only 10 floors left. If you use a little more strength, perhaps you might be able to see Long Fei one last time." And then Jean Wu Shuang's silhouette disappeared. Xian Yuan Li Er tensed up once again. From the moment she turned out to be a Tower question of God, her nerves had been stretched taut. When she found out that Long Fei was still alive, she relaxed a little, allowing her to see hope. Now, her nerves were taut again. "I want to go out. I want to go see Big Brother Long Fei. I want to go out." Xian Yuan Li Er was about to go crazy. Saint Presbyter said, "If you defeat me, you will be able to enter the 91st floor. Otherwise, you will never be able to think of leaving." Xian Yuan Li Er let out a miserable scream as he thrusted out his sword. "Big brother Long Fei, wait for me, wait for me." These 3 years. She imagined the moment she would meet Long Fei every day. This was the power that supported her to continue walking down the path. Now that Long Fei was in danger, her heart was in chaos. Under the intense stimulation, her potential once again burst forth. I didn't expect her limit to be far more than this. Zhan Wushuang smiled faintly. The Saint Presbyter on the 98th floor said faintly, "The potential that has been unleashed under this intense stimulation, once she relaxes, her mind and sea of consciousness will not be able to take it, and she will collapse." "So what?" Zhan Wushuang sneered and said, "I will personally destroy what I cannot obtain. However, before I destroy her again, I want to obtain the power from her body. As for the collapse, what does that have to do with me?" Zhan Wushuang started laughing, and started laughing sinisterly. Ha ha ha. Chapter 15:11, Domestication Successful. Chapter 15:11, Domestication Successful under the powerful pressure. They either exploded or collapsed. Xian Yuan Li Er was extremely nervous the entire time. Her potential had yet to reach its limit. However, with such a heavy pressure, what she unleashed was not potential, but an overdraft of her life. Along the way in the martial arts training, the situation was extremely dangerous. The lesser ones would go berserk. Those who were heavily injured even lost their lives, and had lost all of their cultivation. To Zhan Wushuang, Xian Yuan Li Er was just an item. Since she could not obtain it all, then she would just destroy her. Therefore, he did not care how Xian Yuan Li Er overdrawn his life. He wanted results. What he wanted was the energy that would burst out from Xian Yuan Li Er's body the moment she entered the ancient holy battlefield. It was that simple. Has Big Brother Long Fei returned yet? It's already been quite a while. Could something have happened? The royal city returned to the beast control hall. The 6 disciples frowned and clenched their fists. At this moment, their beast control hall S had tens of thousands of powerhouse S standing in the air, and the entire beast control hall was surrounded so tightly that not even a drop of water could leak out. This was the first time such a scene had occurred in the history of the Tower Question of God. This kind of scene. No one could stop him. Could the Long Fei elder have already? A disciple said, "We have seen Boss Long Fei's beast mastery before. No beast can escape his control. Furthermore, he is Bloody Bull of Underworld S, Gods Were Beasts S, and other super beasts by his side, so he will definitely be fine." His tone was also lacking. After all, it was a dragon that was being locked up in that forbidden area. How strong was he? No one knew. Whether Long Fei could tame it or not was unknown. The imperial city heaved a sigh of relief and said, "No matter how big Brother Long Fei is, no matter how many people there are, how many powerhouse as we have made our choice, we will live and die with them." "You're right. At most, I'll just die." Exactly. When they chose to stay, they were prepared for the worst. At this moment, Qian Changrui returned, panting. He looked at the 6 and asked, "Where's Long Fei?" The imperial city shook his head. "They haven't come out yet in the Dragon Clan's Master's Forbidden Area." "What?" Qian Changrui frowned and said, "I told you guys a long time ago that he absolutely could not be allowed to enter that forbidden grounds. No one could leave that place alive. Master, what do we do now?" The royal capital stared at the pitch-black skies in the distance. They only had 7 people. How could they withstand the pressure? Qian Changrui's eyes darkened slightly as he said, "Fight! Even if I die, I must die happily." He made his choice in an instant. Rumble, 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 rumble. Thunder rumbled. Dense numbers of powerhouse flew towards Beast Control Hall, covering the sky and covering the sun, like a thick black cloud pressing down. Lightning flashed in the sky. Golden Armor War Hall, Law Enforcement Hall, Refining Branch, Alchemy Hall. Almost all the forces of the Tower Question of God sent out their powerhouse S. Most of these people were because of Zhan Wushuang. Now, it was the majority of 9 secret warrior families' power. if Zhan Wushuang were to break through the 100th floor, maybe the entire Tower Question of God was under the control of the 9 secret warrior family, even the owner of Tower Question of God. Boom! With a loud sound, Golden Armor Elder let out a heavy roar. Long Fei, get the hell out here to receive your death. Ha! Golden Armor bodyguards' roar shook the air. Boom, boom, boom. The sky was raging, and the entire beast control hall was violently trembling. The earth quaked, the mountains started to shake, and buildings started to collapse. Roar! A disciple summoned a giant golden python. Boom! Boom! The capital summoned its war beasts as well. Qian Changrui moved in the air and flew up, saying, "Beast Control Hall, follow me, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh." Asterisk, the 6 of them followed Qian Changrui and flew into the air. Boom! The powerhouse of the law enforcement hall descended and shouted, "Qian Changrui, get that bastard Long Fei out here." Die! Boom! A disciple of the law enforcement hall shouted as his murderous roar shook the sky. "Get Long Fei out here to die. Let that beast die. Long Fei, come out and die." One voice after another exploded in the sky above the beast control hall. One by one, the major powers rushed over. The black mass was like an army of 1,000,000 men. Qian Changrui's mind was slightly unable to endure the pressure. He gritted his teeth and said with a heavy tone, "Long Fei has already left." Everyone shivered. His expression suddenly changed. "Left?" Golden Armor Elder exclaimed. "Impossible! The Heavenly Palace's door has never been opened. He can't leave this place at all." "Qian Changrui, you want to play tricks with me?" Qian Changrui smiled, faintly. "It's true that the gates to the Heavenly Palace have never been opened, but he's Long Fei. You all simply do not understand the power he cultivates. After you ran away, he used his special power to leave the Tower Question of God. Don't waste your time. By this time, he had already escaped the Spirit Mountain range." Ha ha ha. No matter if Long Fei was alive or dead in the Forbidden Grounds, Qian Changrui still wanted to help him before he died. Maybe, this way, it could help Long Fei avoid a disaster. After all, he was facing the entire Tower Question of God. Impossible, absolutely impossible. The Tower Question of God is a secret world, and it can only leave from one place, the Heavenly Palace's gate. He absolutely cannot leave. The Golden Armor Elder said solemnly. However, he wasn't sure, because the power Long Fei was cultivating was indeed strange. He had not even seen many of them before. Law enforcement officials raised his right hand and made a grabbing motion. Shwa! He made a grasping motion in the air. With a surge of power, he caught one of the disciples behind Qian Changrui in an instant, grabbed him by the neck, and raised him into the air, asking coldly, "Where is Long Fei?" That disciple's sea of consciousness and mind was completely crushed. His breathing became hurried, and he said with great difficulty, I don't know." Crack! A crisp sound rang out. His neck was shattered. Then law enforcement officials grabbed one more disciple and laughed coldly. "Let me see how unafraid you all are of death. Speak. Where is that bastard Long Fei?" That disciple said heavily, "He is no longer in the Tower Question of Goddess." Crack! Law enforcement officials' gaze turned sinister as he said coldly, "You're toying with me? You think you're worthy?" He did not believe that Long Fei had already escaped from the Tower Question of God. Long Fei was definitely hiding somewhere. In that instant, the law enforcement hall grabbed him again. Boom! Holding the Imperial City in his hands, he shouted loudly, "Long Fei, get out here right now." At this moment, Long Fei's entire body was sweating like it was raining, and his mind felt like it was being sucked dry. And at that moment, the sweet voice of the system beep sounded. Ding! Chapter 1512. Giants, Gigantic Sabers, Gigantic Dragons. Chapter 1512. Giants, Gigantic Sabers, Gigantic Dragons. The sea of consciousness of colorful fairy dragon was extremely big. It was huge. In order to use the fitted soul technique, Long Fei had to tame him, otherwise he would not be able to use the body fusion technique. Boom! Long Fei's sea of consciousness released a rumbling sound. It was as if his soul, which had left the repellent body, had returned back into his body. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the new war pet, Colorful Fairy Dragon. Awesome! Long Fei's head was still buzzing nonstop, but he still shouted out loud in excitement. This is 2F** King Great. The system sounded out again. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Colorful Fairy Dragon, for obtaining the system's special reward of 100 million experience, 3 million holy source, and 1 million points. The special reward items are the Colorful Ancient Blade, a colorful, large blade shining with a rainbow light floated in Long Fei's mind. The handle alone was 3,000 meters long. The blade was 2,000 meters long. The weight. Long Fei looked at that string of long numbers, and even his scalp felt somewhat numb. 160,000 kilograms. F***CK. How savage is this blade? Long Fei's brain wasn't even strong enough. 5,000 long, 160,000 pounds, even to the extent of defying the heavens. Weapon, colorful ancient blade, beast, grade. None, body length, 5,000 meters, weight, 16,000 gene damage. Invincible description. Forged from a rainbow god stone, dragon clan treasure. Description 2. Possessing the power of the Arceus region. Once triggered, the user is blasted into a special space. This space is known as the Arceus region. It can be suppressed in an instant. My darling. This. Long Fei was so excited that he was at a loss for words. Isn't it a bit too heaven-defying? Wouldn't it be unfair to others? Long Fei couldn't help it anymore. This weapon was simply too heaven-defying. Just its aura alone was enough to crush everything. And then the colorful fairy dragon said lightly, "All right, I have already become your war pet. Whatever you want to do now, I will accompany you." Wait a moment. Long Fei heavily swallowed his saliva, looked at the colorful ancient blade, and said, "I'll give you a greeting gift. You'll definitely like it." The main artifact, Dragon Coffin, could not be given to him. The secret of this weapon was far more powerful than Long Fei had imagined. He thought that it would be as simple as a main artifact, but after hearing so much from the colorful fairy dragon, he felt that this main artifact was extraordinary. The colorful fairy dragon trembled and said slightly, "A greeting gift? What can you possibly have?" Honestly speaking, the colorful fairy dragon did not take Long Fei's gift seriously. He came from the divinity. What kind of things have you never seen before? What was inside the chaos realm was not even worth looking at. Seeing the contempt in his eyes, Long Fei suddenly laughed and said, "I won't give it to you right now. You'll definitely pee your pants when the time comes. Hee hee." The colorful fairy dragon laughed and did not mind. Even the main artifact, Dragon Coffin, was secretly shocked. There was still something in this world that could scare him to the point that he peed his pants. It was impossible. Long Fei did not say much. If he could use this blade, he really would not give it to the colorful fairy dragon, but he could not use it. Huff. Get out. Flipping tower question of God. The corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up as he grinned widely. The idea moved. He stored the colorful fairy dragon in the war pet space. At this moment, the originally bustling war pet space instantly quieted down due to the appearance of the colorful fairy dragon, and all of them fearfully looked at this monster that was radiating a golden light in all 7 colors. Gods were beasts, Bloody Bull of Underworld, Swamp Troll were monsters in themselves. But in their eyes, the colorful fairy dragon were the true monsters. Extreme fear. After a long time, the Gods War beast stared at the Bloody Bull of Underworld and looked at it several times. Finally, the Bloody Bull of Underworld carefully said, "Lord God Dragon, we are all brothers, we have to be first come, first serve, so—" The colorful fairy dragon's eyes slightly opened. In that instant, the Bloody Bull of Underworld curled up like a grandson. The colorful fairy dragon said, "Continue." The Bloody Bull of Underworld's voice trembled and said, I mean you to be the boss here." The meaning had completely changed. The Gods War beast stared blankly, staring at the Bloody Bull of Underworld. The Bloody Bull of Underworld was afraid of the colorful fairy dragon, but he was not afraid of it, and said, "Second brother, it's useless staring at me like that. If you're capable, go say it yourself." The Gods War beast grinned, with a fierce look on his face. He said, "Just say it. What is there to be afraid of?" The gigantic Gods War beasts raised its head to look at the colorful fairy dragon, high up in the sky. It gulped down its saliva and said, "Lord Divine Dragon, everyone has to be told, first come, first serve. You are the last one to come, so you have to call us Big Brother." Before he could finish his words, the colorful fairy dragon's voice turned cold and asked, "What did you say? I didn't hear. You clearly." The Gods War beast's body was trembling, and it almost peed its pants from the sound of the voice. It immediately said, "I'm saying you're here to be our boss." The Bloody Bull of Underworld immediately looked over in disdain. Tisk. The same was true for the other giant demons. They had thought that the Gods War beasts would be able to help them become the big brother of the rainbow god power, but they were shocked by a single sentence. The Gods War beasts grinned. "Blood Seller, what are you looking down on? Are you the same?" The Blood Seller laughed innocently and said, "Heavenly King, you are also cowardly. Ha ha." The Gods War beasts did not speak. In front of the colorful fairy dragon, they were like little guys, raising their heads when they spoke. The colorful fairy dragon ignored him and closed his eyes slightly. In his heart, however, he was a little worried because the moment he appeared, it would set off a powerful reaction. The man who had been after him, those mysterious powers, are still here? Could she still be looking for him? No matter what. Since he had decided to follow Long Fei out, then he would make all the preparations. Huff! The colorful fairy dragon let out a heavy breath and thought in her heart, "Brat, hope, don't let me down. I can't take on the heavy responsibility of the dragon clan's rise. I hope you can take on the banner of the dragon clan. I will do everything I can to help you reach the pinnacle of the world. Speak, where is that bastard Long Fei?" The law enforcement hall lifted the imperial city into the air with a savage expression and a strong killing intent in their eyes. Wang Chung laughed, spitting out a mouthful of phlegm as he said, "Even if I knew, I still wouldn't tell you. Kill me." Ha ha ha. Law enforcement officials' eyes turned sinister as his joints exploded. He said solemnly, "You're courting death." The capital burst into laughter. "Come on." Boom. The aura around law enforcement officials suddenly exploded as his left hand formed a claw, swiping towards Royal City's head. At this moment, a flash of light descended. Chapter 15:13. One man overturning all things. Chapter 15:13. One man overturning all things rumble. A loud sound rang out in the sky as a human figure descended. It landed less than 2 meters away from law enforcement officials. At this moment, Wang Cheng's eyes darkened and said, "Big brother Long Fei." Law enforcement officials gave an excited sneer. "Ha ha ha. Long Fei, you finally came out." Amidst his laughter, his left hand still reached out to grab the capital's head. Shua! Long Fei's body suddenly exploded. Clenching his right hand, a ball of blazing flames appeared in his hand. Without saying a word, he fiercely slashed downwards. Heaven exterminating, severing. The sun god authentic artifacts, flames burned. Law enforcement officials' expression changed as he roared, "You think you can hurt me? Power of the golden god. Open." Boom. Both of his arms instantly turned gold, like gold. If Long Fei wanted to stop him, the more he wanted to kill, the more ferocious the power in his fingers became. Boom. It furiously slashed down. The Hellfire Lotus, in Long Fei's mind, also moved. The sun god idea exploded. Rumble, rumble. Both of his arms were cut off, blood spewing everywhere. Law enforcement officials screamed like a pig being butchered. Ah. Long Fei took the opportunity to pull the imperial city over and said, "You retreat first." As soon as he finished, Long Fei waved the sword of destroy in his hand. "Injured you? I want your life." Boom! The blazing flames burned the sky, causing a loud sound. Without waiting for law enforcement officials to react, he swung his sword down. "Brat, you dare!" "Stop!" The surrounding elders roared in anger, wanting Long Fei to stop. That was impossible. How could a duckling whose mouth was close let him fly? However, in that instant, 8 figures attacked like ghosts from behind law enforcement officials. The 8 great elders of the law enforcement hall combined their might and struck Xiang Long Fei with their palms. Buzz. Crack. The sky seemed like it was about to split open. The sword of destroy trembled, and even Long Fei's body was not able to withstand the pressure and was sent flying back. His palm split open, and his entire arm went numb. 8 figures descended. 8 white-haired and white-browed elders were protecting law enforcement officials, and their eyes were fixed on Long Fei. The eyes of the 8 were filled with shock. They were not dead yet. With both of his arms crippled, law enforcement officials was in so much pain that his entire body was covered in cold sweat. Kill him. It was too hard. The power of his golden body was severed. His 2 arms could no longer be reattached. The anger in his heart soared. He was determined to kill Long Fei to vent the hatred in his heart. Law enforcement officials ordered. Golden Armor Elder immediately shouted, "Kill them!" Ha! Golden Armor bodyguards shouted at the same time, and everyone rushed at Xiang Long Fei. The other disciples and elders were the same, all rushing towards Xiang Long Fei. Qian Changrui shouted out and said, "Beast Control Hall disciple, charge!" Although there were only 3 people left, their momentum was not inferior in the slightest. Only Long Fei said lightly, "All of you stay at the side and watch. I'll go deal with them myself." Qian Changrui was startled. "Brat, you are too arrogant. You are going to deal with all of us by yourself? Ha ha ha. Even if you have 1,000,000 lives today, it still won't be enough. Only a brat like you who doesn't know your place. You overestimate yourself. There are too many people, even though there are no saintess among the gods' tower, but they could be said to be the peak powerhouse of this plane. No one dared say that a single person could resist it." Long Fei stood there, and the corners of his mouth revealed the eerie and sinister smile of a death god as he muttered to himself, "How much experience is this? And how many energy values is this? I've never gotten to level 10 Berserk. Let's see if there's a chance today." Long Fei was excited, incomparable excitement, causing trouble. Then it had to be big. If you overturn a power, then you will be uprooted. Long Fei's eyes darkened and said excitedly, "All of you will die." Boom! Bang! With a loud noise, a strange laughing monster rushed out from Warpet space. I'll let you guys have a taste of what it means to be unable to extricate yourselves. 10,000 miles out in the swamp. Poison Flame Prairie. Buzz. Rumble. There was a loud sound in the air, and Swamp Troll rushed out first. The power on his body suddenly exploded, and a swamp that blotted out the sky appeared out of thin air. It floated in the sky. They instantly entangled a large group of people. Venom. Swamp Binding. The disciple who was trapped in the swamp was engulfed within a few seconds, producing a series of green bubbles. At this time, the system beep's in Long Fei's mind rang crazily. Ding, ding, ding. It's the Swamp Troll. It's the giant demon that had been in the Beast Control Hall's Forbidden Grounds for more than 1,000 years. Swamp Troll. The few elders' voices sunk. They did not panic at all. The golden light around one of the elders grew brighter as he growled, 10,000 Art's giant shield. Sky Tree Barrier. Open. Buzz. A golden barrier appeared and covered the swamp, blocking all of the poisonous gas in the swamp. All disciples heed my orders. Stand on the barrier. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, it reacted instantly, and all of them flew to the protective screen. The poisonous gas of the Swamp Troll was completely suppressed. At this moment, Rumble. Sky Tree Barrier. Let me show you the power of my God's hammer. An explosive roar. In the sky, a huge shadow descended from the sky. It held a gigantic war hammer in its hand, and it hacked down heavily like an axe. Layer by layer, space split apart. A critical strike. Rumble. It directly sent a large number of disciples flying, and the area under the hammer became even more muddy. The Sky Tree Barrier instantly shattered, and countless disciples fell down. The Swamp Troll grinned. Ha ha ha. Third brother is awesome. An elder's face turned ugly. Another monster-level beast. Damn it. How many monsters did he tame? Don't care about those beasts. As long as you kill Long Fei, everything will be over. Go kill Long Fei. The appearance of the two war beasts only slightly disrupted the pace of their attack, but did not scare them. These elders were all experienced fighters. They were very clear that as long as they could kill Long Fei, all of these war beasts would die. Boom. Boom. Several powerful clan elders' figures moved like ghosts, instantly dodging the Swamp Troll and their attacks, and attacking Xiang Long Fei. Long Fei, give me your life. Go to hell. Long Fei stood where he was without moving and laughed disdainfully. You want me to die? Just you guys. Before he could finish, the elder's attack landed in the blink of an eye, but when his attack was just half a meter away from Long Fei, the Tong Tian beast suddenly appeared. Hugging both of its fists, it smashed its fist onto the head of that elder, as if it was knocking on a wooden pillar. Crack! The elder's head was split open, instantly killed. Long Fei laughed arrogantly. Who else? Chapter 1514. Long Fei is an abnormal boss. Chapter 1514. Long Fei is an abnormal boss. Who else? F***CK. You want to kill your father? I just want to say, please continue. Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed out arrogantly. At this moment, Long Fei felt like he had become a big boss. All of them wanted to kill him. It felt good to be the big boss. Boom. A massive explosion. The 8 elders instantly leapt into the air. Swoosh. He vanished into thin air. However, after a few seconds, boom, 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 The air exploded as the 8 supreme powerhouse were all blown away by a powerful force, landing not too far away from Long Fei's body. Void blink. Long Fei grinned. In front of the Bemin large monster, "You guys are nothing but dregs in the air." Long Fei had realized this from the very beginning. These powerhouse were all too powerful. They had many divine powers that Long Fei didn't know of. If they had come from the sky above, Long Fei wouldn't have been able to defend himself. However, the Bemin large monster came from the void. In the void, he was the king. One of the 8 grand elders said in a low voice, "Even if we fail to traverse through the void, we will still be unable to do so. This distance is already enough." Boom! The 8 of them linked up with Idea and attacked Xiang Longfei from 8 directions. The corner of Long Fei's mouth raised slightly, such a fast speed, but boom! The Lava Beast King, filled with rage, slammed into one of the Grand Elders and sent him flying thousands of meters away. At the same moment, boom, 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 boom. 7 consecutive explosions rang out, and the 8 great elders of the Law Enforcement Hall were all sent flying. The 8 gigantic beasts stood in 8 different directions from Long Fei. These fellows were all giant demons of the Forbidden Area. A fiendish demon. Qian Changrui was dumbstruck. He seemed to have become an idiot as he muttered, Did he tame all the giant beasts that were imprisoned in the forbidden grounds?" The entire imperial city was also stunned as he said, I don't know either. All I know is that he entered every forbidden area, and other than the Dragon Clan Master's forbidden area, none of the other secret world had lasted more than an hour. Oh my God! Qian Changrui was shocked to the core. He could be considered a person who had experienced a lot and would never change when faced with anything. He was so shocked that he couldn't take care of himself. In less than an hour, a giant demon from the forbidden area. Just what kind of beast mastery does he cultivate? Unimaginable. He is a monster. Qian Changrui looked at Long Fei's motionless back and was truly terrified by Long Fei. They're all giant demons of the forbidden area. He tamed all the giant demons of the forbidden area. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Some of the elders felt their scalps go numb. Those 8 fiendish giant demons explained everything. Long Fei was a monster. Moreover, it was a freak-level monster. No one in the history of Tower Question of God had been able to do this. This guy was too terrifying. Law enforcement officials shouted, "It doesn't matter how many trolls he tames. As long as we kill him, all of these trolls will die." Long Fei was like the mother of all the beasts. If the progenitor dies, all these super war beasts will die. All of the powerhouse has calmed down and immediately agreed. Law enforcement officials is right, kill Long Fei, and everything will be over. Golden Armor Bodyguard, lead the way. He only has a few war beasts. As long as we can stall him, we don't believe that we won't be able to kill him. Instantly, Golden Armor Bodyguard rushed over. Behind them, many powerful elders also rushed forward. Just as they had said, the giant demon was entangled and was unable to escape. Their abilities were indeed strong, but there were too many of them. They were always fighting and didn't even give them a chance. Over a dozen elders who were mixed in the crowd charged towards Xiang Longfei in that instant. "Give me your life. Die." A dozen or so elders suddenly took action. Their strength and imposing manner formed a might comparable to the heavens, heavily suppressing Long Fei's body, causing Long Fei's body to sink slightly. It was a little hard to bear. However, Long Fei still stood in place without moving an inch. "He's been crushed. Ha ha ha. Kill him, kill him. Long Fei, you dog, go to hell. Ha ha ha." Law enforcement officials laughed out loud in excitement. Long Fei was about to die. At this moment, a disciple suddenly reminded, "Don't Long Fei still have another beast of hell? Why hasn't he come out yet?" Law enforcement officials was slightly stunned. Without waiting for him to react, a ball of dark arrogance came rushing out. A pair of flaming eyes stared at him from within the dark arrogance, and an incomparably huge bloody bull of underworld rushed out. Buzz. A loud sound echoed out. The clock of hell's voice came out. The bell rang, and the grim reaper descended. The aura of the Nether King blood cellar exploded. Boom, boom, boom. The dark arrogance was like a wave of energy wave being catalyzed by the clock of hell. The death god's scythe was harvesting crazily. The dozen or so elders near Long Fei were instantly smashed into smithereens by the clock of hell's power, exploding into mist of blood. And then, within a radius of 5 kilometers, other than Long Fei's men, none of the disciples or elders survived. They were all dead to the point of not even having a scrap left. Strong performance. The bloody bull of underworld roared, "You dare to touch my boss? Who the F*CK wants to try moving another one?" The gigantic clock of hell in his hands was still spinning. This aura was like that of a god. The audience suddenly quieted down. Law enforcement officials' scalp was going numb. Beasts rushed out one after another. These were all abnormal monsters, and Long Fei was the biggest abnormal monster. He couldn't bear it. His heart felt like it was about to explode. Qian Changrui muttered, "I only know that beasts of hell are strong, but I never knew that he was strong to this extent. Furthermore, where did the clock of hell in his hands come from?" The Imperial City muttered, "He's too amazing. Long Fei is too amazing. He's practically my idol." Long Fei grinned, looked at the incomparably gigantic bloody bull of underworld, and said slightly, "Aren't you a little too abnormal?" The bloody bull of underworld gave a silly laugh and said, "Boss, I still have another big move that I haven't used yet." Hearing the 2 words "big move," Long Fei naturally thought of Xiao Bai, and when he thought of those unbearable scenes, he immediately said, "As long as you have this kind of power, you don't need to use any big move." He was truly afraid that he would produce a fart or a pile of **T. Then it's true. In the distance, 6 St. Presbyter S stood in midair. 3 years of time. I never would have thought that he would have grown to such a stage. No wonder the young lord wanted him dead. One of the elders laughed. "Fourth elder, let's not talk too much. Right now, it's our turn to go on stage. End him." Chapter 15:15, Saint S Attack. Chapter 15:15, Saint S Attack, a Massacre. Long Fei's beast army swept across. The system beat flew into the air. Energy striking value had also risen rapidly. The sky-swallowing rat continued to eat the items that dropped, while Long Fei continued to exchange points. Ding! Energy filled. Current energy level, 82. From time to time, 1 or 2 ancient spiritual artifacts would appear, and their energy levels would also continuously increase. It could be seen that the higher the energy level of the golden cudgel, the thicker the energy emitted. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A sky-shaking explosion. The explosive power of these freakish war beasts was simply too powerful. Oh my God! Boss Long Fei really managed to fend off tens of thousands of Tower Question of God by himself. Teach, this is too terrifying, isn't it? The entire capital fell into a state of disbelief. But everything in front of him was the truth. The Imperial City said excitedly, "Boss Long Fei is mighty. If this goes on, all of these armies will be crushed." Qian Changrui, however, was not as optimistic. Instead, his brows tightly knitted as he said, The most powerful aspect of Tower Question of God is not these powers, Hall. He looked at the golden tower that was floating in the sky and muttered, I hope the Saint Presbyter of the Tower Question of God does not intervene. If not, the strongest Tower Question of God S were the powerful Saint Presbyter S among the gods tower. The divine powers that the Saint S were cultivating with were the strongest 100 people here. They were too strong. Moreover, the Tower Question of God itself was an extremely strong existence. The royal city was stunned, and its expression darkened. Kill. Crush them all. Long Fei did not want to let any of them go. If he wanted to do it, he had to pull them out by the roots. The sun flipped. Suddenly, the sky suddenly darkened. It was as if all the light in the world was instantly sucked out. Buzz. An ear-piercing buzzing sound was heard. Rumble. 6 golden and dazzling human figures floated above Long Fei's head, and one of the saint bellowed, Long Fei, have you had enough trouble? The light wasn't drawn out. It was absorbed by the 6 rays of golden light, covering everything. Saint, the boss of the Tower Question of God. The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back as he laughed excitedly. We're finally out. Causing trouble? Do I look like I've had enough? Long Fei sneered, seeing the golden light on their bodies. He couldn't help but become excited. God's tower boss would definitely drop a lot of good items. It just so happened that at the stage of the sky-swallowing rat's true growth, they needed nutrition. In this period of time, the sky-swallowing rat's level had also skyrocketed. From its original rank of 3 to the current level of 18, it needed even more powerful holy artifact, nourishment. These glittering saint were the best source of nutrition. How dare you? A saint shouted loudly. Long Fei, you killed innocents and committed an unforgivable sin within the Tower Question of God. This time, even with the divine compass medallion, you won't be saved. Long Fei coldly replied, If you want to kill me, then say you want to kill me. Killing the innocent? Are these people innocent? Aren't these people your cannon fodder? Zhan Wushuang's henchmen? Are they not innocent? All of them are here for my life. Is such a person innocent? Stop talking. Come on. This old man has always wanted to know the power of all you bullsh *T Saint. Long Fei moved his right hand, and the sword of destroy immediately combusted. The fire god's sword aura combined with the overbearing aura of the magmatic fruit. Sword chi domineering. Explosions rang out in the air. Those golden armor bodyguard who were slightly closer to Long Fei could not bear it at all, and were instantly shaken by the aura that erupted from Long Fei's body until they fell into a dazed state, and were instantly knocked over by the war beasts as well. It was also at this moment the bloody bull of Underworld drew closer to Long Fei, and warned in a low voice, Boss, these old fellows' strengths aren't simple, Saint, the group of people with the strongest Tower Question of God. They controlled the Tower Question of God and absorbed the densest amount of divine power. Their cultivation bases were terrifying to the extreme. Humph! One of the saints sneered with his eyes wide open. Then his figure disappeared. Without giving Long Fei any time to react at all, he instantly landed in front of Long Fei, formed a seal with his 2 palms, and smashed down heavenly seal palm. Rumble! Both palms pushed out, striking Long Fei's chest. At this moment, a huge divine imprint appeared in the sky and pressed down heavily. Double pincer attack. Under the divine light, Long Fei was like a wooden stake that had been nailed in place, unable to move at all. Xiu Luo divine body. Open. Boom. As it was his last resort, Long Fei could only passively defend. The sound of metal colliding rang out, and a thick Shura's life armor appeared on Long Fei's body. Rumble! As the 2 energies poured in, the Azura armor On Long Fei's chest began to crack and shatter instantly. The divine seal above his head came crashing down, directly smashing Long Fei, who was in midair down. Rumble! A huge crater formed from the impact of the impact, like a meteor hitting the ground, causing the entire beast control hall to tremble violently. Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Law enforcement officials laughed loudly. Long Fei, you're so arrogant. You're just a pile of dog shit, an ant in front of Holy Saint. You scum. Ha ha ha. This attack was full of resentment. Many disciples and elders clamored. Long Fei, are you feeling good? Aren't you arrogant? Again, why was I stomped by Holy Saint in one move? You dog, get up again. The war beasts in the battle circle also quietly sank into the pit. The battle suddenly stopped. Everyone looked at the crater that was filled with sand. The saint sneered. You dare to show off your strength here? Who do you think you are? You still want to oppose Lord Wushuang. What qualifications do you have? Suddenly, without waiting for him to finish, the dust in the deep hole was crushed by a stream of power. Long Fei stood up. Blood hung from the corner of his mouth as he lightly wiped the blood off. However, I like your divine seal. It's mine now. It hurts. But Long Fei felt even more excited. This meant that this boss was strong enough, and the God Seal's God Light had bound him. This was a treasure. Since it was a good item, how could he let it go? Long Fei laughed excitedly, his eyes slightly raised as he stared at the Saint Presbyter in midair, and suddenly said, Bloody Bull of Underworld! Move! The blood cellar roared. Then Long Fei placed his hand on it and said with a heavy tone, Fitted soul, open! Chapter 1516. The Profound Truths of the Blood Cellar. Big Bullet. Chapter 1516. The Profound Truths of the Blood Cellar. Big Bullet. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. The world seemed to have collapsed. All of the energy from the bloody bull of Underworld surged into Long Fei's body. At this moment, Long Fei could only fuse his own energy with the bloody bull of Underworld's energy. Power exploded in his body. This feeling, strong enough to explode. Everything was completed in an instant. Shwa. Long Fei's footsteps shook, and he instantly rushed into the sky, one hand holding a clock of hell, the other holding a sword of destroy. It's my turn. The clock of hell knocked. Wang. As the bell tolled, the power of the Nether King Realm's saint artifact erupted. The bell tolled, disturbing the minds of everyone present. In their minds, many dark arrogants began to move. Fire! The clock of hell flew up in an instant. Long Fei held the sword with both of his hands and said solemnly, Come! 1,800 slashes of light. The flames which burned the sky above the sword of destroy slashed through the air in a berserk fashion, its speed extremely fast, as if streaks of lightning were tearing through the air. Within a second, the light-speed sword was unleashed to its limits, and all 1,800 slashes were slashed down. The Saint Presbyter's eyes darkened, the golden light around his body exploded, his body turned into a golden body as he disdainfully sneered, With this kind of attack, it wouldn't even harm me at all. Possession of the golden body. Just like how Long Fei had obtained the effect of Central Asia hourglass in the god's Martial Continent, every slash that landed on his body was an MIS, unable to inflict the slightest bit of damage. This was the golden body obtained from cultivating the divine light. His defense was unparalleled. Ha ha ha. A lowly existence like an ant, you think you can contend against tower question of God. Who gave you the courage? Ha ha ha. Long Fei, did you enjoy it? So what if I fuse with Bloody Bull of Underworld? It's completely useless, right? Ha ha ha. Many of the elders began to mock him. The bloody bull of underworld had fused with it, but could not unleash any of its power. That was a bloody bull of underworld. Is it no use at all? Or could it be? Saint's cultivation was above all else. No matter how strong Long Fei was, he would not be able to contend. If it was an ordinary fighter, it would be true. These Saint cultivate godly power. Ordinary warriors only trained the most ordinary power of Chaos Realm. How could he resist? Long Fei was naturally different. That saint laughed coldly and said, "You dog, you can't even harm a single hair on my head. This is the difference between you and me. This is the difference between you and me, and also the difference between you and young Master Wushuang. Understand?" The corner of Long Fei's mouth curved up as he looked at the sky and laughed coldly. "You sure?" "Ha ha." Suddenly, a disciple reminded him, "A black shadow has descended from the sky." Clock of Hell. It's the Clock of Hell that he just threw into the sky. Forget about Clock of Hell, S. Even his power is useless. Long Fei, you're too weak. Who would be worried? No one would worry. The previous move had been crushed, and now that the 1,800 slashes of the light speed sword did not have the slightest effect, what use could it have? Long Fei and Saint were simply not on the same level. They couldn't be matched at all. The Saint did not care about the Clock of Hell above him either, and sneered, "You dog, you still don't understand? In our eyes, you are just an ant. I just need a squeeze." The moment he said that, his idea moved. Suddenly, his gaze suddenly sank. At this time, Long Fei grinned. "Say it. What's wrong with a light pinch? Continue." The Saint's expression changed greatly because his body suddenly stopped moving. What's going on? The golden light on his body frantically struggled and attacked, but his body was still immobilized. Just like how Long Fei had been bound by the divine light of the divine seal, he couldn't move at all. Saint's face was gloomy as he said, "Impossible, absolutely impossible. Your strength can't harm me in the slightest. It's impossible to restrain me. Speak. What did you do, kid?" Everything happened too quickly, and there was no time to react at all. Everyone looked at Long Fei with dumbstruck expressions. Could it be the power of the Clock of Hell? That's not right. Clock of Hell's power is attack-type power, so it's unable to cause any restrictions. What could that be? Long Fei didn't do anything. He only displayed a sword technique, that sword technique. In the distance, the eyes of a saint shook. With a move of his power, his eyes turned gold, and with a glance, his heart trembled. Sword chi, line up. How is this possible? No one has been able to cultivate the sword art such an extent. No one, Saint at the side immediately asked. What's the situation? The Saint said, the first floor is covered in thin threads. These threads are the threads of sword chi, able to seal a person's strange meridians and tightly bind a person. This kind of sword technique is something that no one in Chaos Realm has ever comprehended. Sword chi line. I've never heard of it. The few elders were stupefied. They had never heard of this sword intent. The golden-eyed saint said softly, "This child's attainment in sword arts has already surpassed all the sword intent in the entire Chaos Realm. His talent in sword arts, he's the strongest person I've ever met." Sword chi line? Long Fei did not know, but from the very beginning, he had never thought of using 1,800 slashes of light to kill Saint. Instead, he used the fusion of sword chi and domineering aura to form a powerful binding force that trapped him. However, he had not expected that this was the profound meaning of sword techniques. What bullshit sword chi? So what? The first level of Saint cultivates the power of divine light, even if they are restricted. So what? It couldn't hurt him at all. Exactly. Divine light body. Is it only based on Long Fei's power? It's not enough at all. Binding was useless. Long Fei's power could not harm him, because they were a saint with heaven-defying defense. The saint who was trapped said sinisterly, Long Fei, so what if you have trapped me? Your strength is so great that you can't even tickle me. Long Fei did not speak. He only chuckled. At this moment, buzz. The clock of hell fell down. It directly enveloped the saint. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz, Saint bellowed out. Even with this damn broken bell, it can't hurt me. Can't do anything to you? Long Fei sneered, his body jumping. He landed on top of the clock of hell and used a lot of strength. Boom! The top of the clock of hell was removed by Long Fei, and a hole appeared. Looking at the saint below him, Long Fei grinned and said, The clock of hell can't deal with you, but this megaphone, hee. In that instant, Long Fei erupted the power of the bloody bull of underworld in his body. He growled at the speaker, Moo. Chapter 1517. The Death of a Level 1 Saint, Burst of a Level 1 God's Tower. Chapter 1517. The Death of a Level 1 Saint, Burst of a Level 1 God's Tower. Clock of Hell, super profound. Bullet. I created it myself. Long Fei roared. The bloody bull of underworld blew straight into the horn. Moo. The bison howled. At this time, it drilled into his heart and lungs. Boom, 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 boom. Gigantic sonic waves exploded in the air. Rings after rings were visible to the naked eye. These were even sonic waves of darkness. Bam! One of the golden armor bodyguard's eardrums exploded, causing his internal organs to erode. Bam! Another disciple bled from his 7 orifices. Bang, bang, bang. Immediately after, many of the golden armor bodyguards' bodies, all exploded into a cloud of blood mist. They could not withstand the power of the big trumpet at all. Ah, ah, ah. The surrounding area was filled with the wails and howls of ghosts. They hugged their ears and struggled at death's door, and even those elders could not endure it as they rolled on the ground, crying out loudly. They were thousands of meters away from Long Fei. None of them could bear it. Then, and the saint below the clock of hell, there was no sound at all. To die or to live. Everyone looked over. Long Fei moved the idea and lifted it up, only to see a bloodied person sitting there with a dim golden light on his body. Zhang Xian's eyes trembled. His body was also trembling violently. His mouth trembled as he said, Save me, save me, save me. He instantly looked like a fool. Moreover, he could not hear a sound. There were only a few hundred health points left. The damage dealt by the megaphone just now. Long Fei looked at the total amount of HP above his head and smiled. A critical strike with 1 billion HP. Awesome. It was almost instantly killed. An extremely terrifying existence. Long Fei grinned. Aren't you arrogant? I thought I couldn't do anything to you? Huh. Come. Let me see you act smug again. He simply could not hear what Long Fei was saying. Seeing Long Fei's mouth move, he kneeled on the ground in shock and said, Long Fei, let me go. Let me. I won't dare to do it again. In that instant, the pain he had experienced was unimaginable. His willpower and spiritual force had all collapsed. That feeling was too unbearable. Also, anyone would be afraid of death. Even the saint among Tower Question of God S was the same. Long Fei laughed and said, Are you begging now? Do you think I'll let you go? As soon as he finished, Long Fei's gaze turned, staring at the 5 saintess below him, and shouted, "Those who block me, die!" Sky-swallowing rat. Creak. Bang. With a loud noise, the sky-swallowing rat rushed out and instantly swallowed the saint down. Only a miserable scream could be heard in the air. "Save me!" Crack. Then there was no more sound, and then 2 system notifications sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to the player, Long Fei, for leveling up his war pet, Sky-swallowing rat. Current level, 19. Ding! Congratulations to player, Long Fei, for leveling up from the war pet, Sky-swallowing rat, to level 20. The nutrition of a saint made the sky-swallowing rat level up continuously 2 levels. It really was a good nutrition. The moment the sky-swallowing rat swallowed Saint's body, the entire world became quiet. Everyone looked at Long Fei as if he was a monster, at the sky-swallowing rat that was licking its lips. In the last 10,000 years, this was the first time Saint was killed. Furthermore, he was killed in Fairyland of Tower Question of God. Buzz. In the distance, the Tower Question of God in the sky released an explosive sound, and immediately after, the tower body fell. Rumble. Dust exploded out. Golden light burst out as well. An elder shouted, "The first layer of the Tower Question of God has collapsed." At this moment, the system beeped. Ding! Congratulations to player, Long Fei, for destroying the first layer of Tower Question of God. Ding! Congratulations to player, Long Fei, for triggering the quest. Quest: Destroy the Tower Question of God. Level: SSS class time. 1 year reward: 1-star godhood, SX1, level 10 berserk, level once, special item heaven and earth melting furnace X1. Obtain the right to enter ancient holy battlefield. F***CK. The quest has been triggered. This should be the strongest mission in Chaos Realm, right? Long Fei's heart secretly tensed up, and seeing the task reward, his blood boiled again. I have already calculated everything else, but what is this world-melting furnace? Based on your name. Could it be a furnace that can refine the heavens and the earth? F***CK. If that's the case, then this is awesome. Overturn everything. Even if there was no mission, Long Fei would destroy it layer by layer. 100 levels, 100 bosses. How could he let them go? However, what Long Fei did not expect was that after killing the first layer of Saint, he would explode the second layer of the Tower Question of God. It was like poking a hornet's nest. The saint that was in charge of the Tower Question of God all flew out in unison. Watching the 100 layers of Tower Question of God become 99 meant that someone was challenging the Tower Question of God. Who is it? Who had the guts to eat the bear-heart leopard? Who is it? The collapse of the first layer of God's tower affected the remaining 90% of the 9-story heaven. In the 90th tower, Zhan Wushuang's forehead tightened. He had a feeling that the fall of a god's tower was Long Fei's ultimate move, but he was also sneering. Who isn't easy to kill? It has to be said that the saint that killed the Tower Question of God had linked these gods' tower to them. I don't even know this. Long Fei is overestimating you. This is good as well. This time, you don't need me to do anything. You won't be able to take it. More than 90 saintess attacked. Long Fei, you can't escape this calamity. Ha ha ha. Master, what happened? Amongst the god's tower on the 96th floor, Xianyuan Li'er also felt the sudden fall of the god's tower as a powerful energy overflowed. The saint on the 96th floor said faintly, "Cultivate in peace. You don't need to worry about other things." He couldn't let Xianyuan Li'er be distracted. This was what Zhan Wushuang had instructed her to do. Xian Yuan Li Air softly replied, and thought in his heart, Big Brother Long Fei, is that you? You also entered the tower question of God. Big Brother Long Fei. Lear misses you so much. God's tower linked to Saint. Saint had fallen, and a layer of God's tower had ruptured. Saint was angry. Long Fei did not expect things to become so huge, but he felt quite good. Level 1, this timing is really good. Long Fei. With a furious roar, the remaining 5 Saintess were enraged beyond belief. They never imagined that Long Fei would dare to kill Saint. They were all going crazy. Long Fei laughed excitedly. Continue. 1518, 5 blast explosion. 1518, 5 blast explosion. Continue. Level 1 exploded. Even without entering the tower, he still charged at the tower question of God. Would Long Fei stop doing such a good thing? This is too arrogant. A saint suddenly moved. Both his fists exploded. Wang! A loud sound echoed out. His figure disappeared at an unimaginable speed. Long Fei also could not see that the power of the saint was too much beyond his expectations, but he could not see it either. He was not afraid because his current strength, flesh, and health point were all not his original state. He had merged with the bloody bull of Underworld, and his health point, body defense, and strength all reached the peak of the bloody bull of Underworld. Boom! The gods war beasts bellowed loudly, Boss, be careful! The beast king question of God also roared out, Be careful! Long Fei, die! The void suddenly split open as a golden beam of light struck down. A golden fist shadow descended from the void. Long Fei did not move. Speed. He couldn't keep up, but in terms of physical body, defense, and health point of over 30 billion, even if he was a powerhouse, he still wouldn't be able to match up to Long Fei. Buzz. His body slightly lowered as he heavily shouted, Come on! Boom, boom. The punch was as sharp as a missile. A damage of over 80 million yuan instantly floated up above his head. It looked as if it was exploding on the surface, and the bloody bull of Underworld's skin was extremely tough to defend against. Even so, she had still blasted out over 80 million yuan of her damage. If not for the bloody bull of Underworld, Long Fei's 10 lives would have been instantly killed. However, with more than 3 billion health point, a mere 80 million was nothing. To Long Fei, this kind of injury was equivalent to scratching an itch, and his body was motionless. Furthermore, the moment that Saint's fist landed, Long Fei's right hand swept across it. Bam! Grabbing hold of Saint, he moved his right fist. Damn, it's my turn! Hades' fist. Boom! The strength of the bloody bull of Underworld on his right arm surged and surged. Before the saint could react, he punched it out. Boom! Golden light radiated in all directions. The saint turned to the side, his expression cold. Long Fei moved his body, and before the saint could fly out, he threw another punch back. Bam! 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 After dozens of consecutive punches, the saint's eyes released a golden light. Suddenly, Long Fei's body sank down, and his knee struck the saint's chest. Cross attack! Boom! It directly hit the ground, both fists moving at the same time, bombarding Saint's face in a frenzy. Ah! What the F asterisk CK? Bang, bang, bang! The gash on the top of his head quickly revealed the bottom of his body. The strength of the bloody bull of Underworld and Long Fei themselves exploded outwards, striking again and again and again and again and again and again. Saint was completely unable to resist it. In a short half a minute, he hugged his fists and smashed them on top of Saint's head like a hammer. Buzz! Crack! The head was shattered and blood spurted out. At this moment, The system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Saint of the Second Floor for obtaining 100 million experience points, 100 million holy source points, and 10 energy values points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Divine Seal Fist. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Rotary King Blood Vein. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Ancient Spiritual Artifact. Ding! Energy level complete. Current energy level 84. Kill. At this moment. Rumble. 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 The Golden God's Tower released another series of explosions, causing the second layer of God's Tower to crumble. The tower question of God descended another level, and this time, even more Saint were shocked. The second level of God's Tower had shattered. Long Fei raised his bloodied fists, looked at one of the Saint in the sky, and coldly said, "Continue." Arrogant, extreme arrogance. Either not, or just roll over and kill him. The other four Saint S were enraged. Long Fei grinned and said, "Why are you calling your father?" Ah! A furious roar. Boom, boom, boom. The three Saint S rushed down together. From three directions, Xiang Longfei instantly attacked from three different directions. The golden light shone brightly, and two Saint S were killed by Longfei in a row. If this continued, the tower question of God's foundation would become unstable. Moreover, if the higher-ups knew about this, they would not be able to escape death. Boss. The gods' war beasts roared. Long Fei's idea immediately moved, and said, "Don't come over here." It was fine to deal with ordinary powerhouse, but their power was not enough to deal with holy ranked powerhouse, because their power was also the power that ordinary warriors cultivated in. Even though the gods' war beasts' current cultivation level was semi-realistic realm, it had not reached the god power level. After coming down from the previous battlefield, the god power in his body had been drained. It was completely incomparable to these Saint Presbyter S. Long Fei gave a cold laugh. "Why don't the three of you take care of it together?" "Then let's do it." He wasn't afraid in the slightest. With 30 billion health point, who was there to be afraid of? The bloody bull of Underworld's name was called Boom, Boom, Boom. With three loud bangs, Long Fei did not try to defend himself and directly used his flesh to block the attacks of the three people. His health point immediately decreased by 500 million, and his heart sank a little. Indeed, at the first level of Saint, the strength of second level can only cause around 80 million damage to me, but these three Saints can deal over 500 million damage. Your strength has increased quite a bit. However, Long Fei raised both his eyes, let out a loud shout, and said, "With your strength, you're not even enough." Boom! A ray of dark arrogance energy merged with Long Fei's own Hellfire Lotus energy and erupted. Dark flame. He directly shot out. Long Fei's right hand struck down hard on the clock of hell. Hades' bell. Boom, boom, boom. With the burst of power, a gigantic simulacrum of the King of Hell rose from Long Fei's body. He grabbed the clock of hell and fiercely smashed it down. Boom! The amount of blood on the head of a saint instantly reached the bottom. Instant kill. Ding! The system beep rang. The God's Tower at the third level let out a loud noise. Rumble. Crack. Long Fei didn't care about it. He turned to the side and attacked with another clock of hell. Buzz. Boom. Yet another Saint Presbyter was killed instantly. Rumble. The God's Tower at the fourth level let out a loud rumble. Crack. This was the first time in his life that he had felt fear in his heart and felt the arrival of death. In that instant, he ran. He instantly fled, 1,000 miles in an instant. However, the moment he escaped, an anger arose between Long Fei's brows. Boom! The gigantic simulacrum of the King of Hell grabbed onto the clock of hell and pierced through the void with one hand. Right in front of the saint, the clock of hell covered the ground like a black hole. You want to escape? Do you agree? Die. Chapter 1519, Tower Question of God Tower Master Arena. Chapter 1519, Tower Question of God Tower Master Arena. If you act tough, then don't even think about leaving. When the clock of hell covered him, it was like a ladle of *T suddenly covering him. It instantly flipped over. His body was split in half by Pluto's knell. Ding! The system rang out once again. At the same time, the tower question of God's 5th floor exploded. The tower question of God trembled. Rumble! The tall tower question of God descended again, exploding 5 times in a row. A series of explosions sounded out from within the tower question of God, as if it was on the verge of collapse. The 5th floor was the base of the tower question of God. However, even if another 20 layers of tower question of God were to crumble, they would still not fall because it itself could not be described as a building. It was a very special existence. It could also be said to be a spiritual treasure, a holy artifact. But he would be affected, acting cool. Is the saint among the gods' tower that amazing? Again, damn you. Long Fei rubbed the bridge of his nose, looked at the last saint in the sky, and laughed coldly. There's only one person left. Are you going to go back and call for reinforcements or fight with this daddy? How preposterous. The eyes of the saint in the 6th floor looked as though they were about to spit fire from anger. He didn't understand. Why was that? 3 years ago, he felt that Long Fei was just an ant that he could pinch to death however he wanted. But now, he felt that they were ants, causing Long Fei to become extremely huge. This feeling made him extremely unhappy. Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "You're not in a good mood, right? If you're not satisfied, then come and do me. Your father is waiting here." He pretended to be, come on, I'll make you feel good," just as cheap as he could be. "I was afraid you wouldn't come. Since you've come, don't even think about leaving." The biggest disadvantage of Bloody Bull of Underworld was their speed. If they could slow down their gods' war beasts or go up to the sky war beasts, then their speed would be able to keep up. However, the health point of God's war beasts' S were too low, and they could not withstand the attacks of the saint. Long Fei, I will never forgive you." The saint of the 6th floor was so angry that he could barely speak due to Long Fei's anger, but he didn't dare to go down. His cultivation was the strongest out of the 6 saintess. However, he could not see where the limit of Long Fei's strength was at all after the 5 people were killed. He didn't even know if he was his opponent or not. Long Fei laughed coldly and said, "If you can't spare me, then come and kill me. You don't want to do it, do you? I don't want to waste my breath on you either." And then Long Fei moved and shouted, "Bloody Bull of Underworld, buzz." The Bloody Bull of Underworld took off Long Fei's body, instantly reverting back to the appearance of a real face, and let out a roar. "Moo, boss, it's too awesome." Ha ha ha. These Bullsh *T saint were as easy as chickens and dogs. They were easily killed. The Bloody Bull of Underworld was extremely excited. Long Fei said, "The good days are yet to come." His eyes held back for a moment, and then the saint of the 6th floor disdainfully said from afar, "Go back and call for someone? You can't." At the same time, Long Fei's idea connected to the gods' war beasts and said faintly, "Come over here." 6th floor, saint, the strongest of the 6. How could she let him leave when he was already out? However, Bloody Bull of Underworld speed was not comparable to Saint's. He needed the God's War Beasts' speed. The God's War Beasts also understood tacitly and mocked. Did you hear my boss's words? F asterisk King no. Go back and call for help. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The entire army was laughing at him. Many of them were captured by the Saintess of the Gods Tower, and they especially hated the tower question of Goddess. The sixth floor saint was so angry that his entire body was trembling. At this moment, a sound transmission reached his sea of consciousness. Contractual is sacred art. Once Long Fei is used, your power will instantly kill him. In that instant, the eyes of the saint in the sixth floor darkened as the corners of his mouth revealed a proud and cold smile. In the blink of an eye, shwa, he disappeared into thin air. Give me your life. An explosive sound rang out in the air. The Bloody Bull of Underworld was shocked. Boss. Long Fei's gaze darkened. I knew it. I was waiting for you. God's War Beasts. Fitted soul, open. Buzz. It seemed to have merged with the God's War Beast's body in an instant, and at this moment, Long Fei flipped his right hand and directly caught the God's hammer in his hand. This alone was not enough. The health point of the God's War Beasts had difficulty resisting the attacks of the Saint of the Sixth Floor. However, Long Fei had already thought of everything. Undying blood clan, power of blood god, open for me. Blood pool. Buzz. Long Fei activated the blood vein's own strength as his body turned into a ball of blood shadow, and like a huge pool of blood, instantly shot into the air. Rumble. The power of a saint of the sixth floor came crashing down. Miss. A MIS word floated up above Long Fei's head. This was the first time this had ever happened, and there had never been a boss attack, and the MIS word would appear. This was because Long Fei's current state was the undying blood race. Dodge. Long Fei instantly retracted the power from the blood pool. In this state, he had no way of attacking, and he leaped heavily. Damn it! I knew there was someone who would tell you the weakness of the fitted soul. Your father has been waiting for you. God's War Hammer. Thunder God strike. The warhammer reached into the clouds. Rumble. Rumble. Crack, crack, crack. Lightning raged. All of the lightning flashed crazily, attaching onto the God's War Hammer, and the hammer came smashing down. The eyes of the saint in the sixth floor tightened as he shouted, Long Fei, with your speed. It's not good at all. No. Now try it out. Bloody Bull of Underworld speed was not good, but God's War Beast's speed was definitely good. The moment he escaped, Long Fei roared. The God's War Beast's anger burst forth. Taking a step forward, he extended his right hand behind him and grabbed onto the God's Warhammer's hilt. Shwa! Bang! 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 Rumble! Rumble! The lightning exploded above the saint of the sixth floor. It exploded. The power of the thunder god's strike penetrated into his mind and tore it apart. The scene was incomparably shocking. The entire tower question of God was in a daze. Even the saint who flew out were shocked. This strike of lightning and thunder carried an endless destructive force. Ah! Ah! Young Master Wushuang, save me! Tower Lord, save me! The sixth floor of the saint was covered in lightning as he frantically struck out, causing the damage above his head to roll out layer after layer. He couldn't bear it. Long Fei grinned and sneered. Go to hell. Suddenly, the sky suddenly split open, and a human figure landed heavily, followed by an explosion. Long Fei, enough! One of the saints' face changed. Tower Lord, the master of the tower question of God. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.